City Council will meet on Thursday, December 3rd, 2020 at 7 p.m. remotely to hold its regular meeting for the purpose of discussing any and all business, including the public hearing for the fiscal year 2021 tax rate. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law 38, Section 20, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Salem City Council will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information in the general guidelines of remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with the right and/or requirement to attend the meeting can be found on the city's website, www.salem.com. No person in attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to make sure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the city's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch, listen, or provide comment, if applicable, during the meeting may do so in the following manner. Please click the link that's listed below on the city's website, or go to Zoom and enter the meeting webinar ID 825-1574-3281, followed by the meeting password above as directed on the screen, or telephone using the toll-free number 877-853-5257. This meeting is also live on SATV and is actually being live streamed on Facebook as well. Members of the public wishing to speak on the agenda items must follow how to sign up for public testimony outlined in the agenda below. City of Salem, December 3rd, 2020, City Council regular meeting. Oh, sorry. No, man. Sorry. Look at that, I goofed up the last meeting. December 3rd, 2020, City Council regular meeting. A regular meeting of the Salem City Council is being held remotely on Thursday, December 3rd, 2020 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on December 1st, 2020 at 10:25 a.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV as well as on Facebook. Currently, we have all councilors present. Council President McCarthy presided. Councilor Persnewski moved to dispense with the reading of the previous record. All those in favor? Let the record reflect I saw 10 hands plus my own. All those opposed? That carries. I now ask that everyone please join Councilor Dibble with reading Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of America,
and to
the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with
liberty
and
and
justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Before we get going, Council Turrill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Point of personal privilege, if I may.
Council Turrill's asking for point of personal privilege. Seeing no objection, Council Turrill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to recognize the and point out the loss of somebody who was a really good people. My predecessor in this seat in Ward 5, John Ronan, who passed suddenly just before Thanksgiving at a very young age. He was a good man, a neighbor, and a friend outside of the arena of politics that he and I competed in, and it's a real loss for our city to lose him. He left behind his girlfriend and his son, his adult son, and I wish my best to them. And on behalf of the city and on behalf of all of us, my sympathies to the family. Yeah, John was a good guy, and like I said, he was a good guy and a good neighbor. So if I could ask for a brief moment of silence for us to recognize him, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Public testimony. We have 6 people signed up, and it's interesting. One came, the city clerk just brought one up to me who was sent by email, and she just brought it up to me, and it actually the timestamp on it is 6:29, and I don't know what the lag was, but it's fuzzy. So, Madam City Clerk, if you could open up fuzzy since his just came up and his is on top.
Fuzzy, I'm going to allow you to speak. If you want to unmute yourself, will you state your name and address for the record, please?
There we go.
Seems like every third meeting this happens to him. We're going to have to jump to the next one.
Yeah, Fuzzy, if you can
Log off and log back
log
on.
off and log back on again, please. We appreciate that.
Next up I have is Susan Moulton.
Let me find Susan. All right. Susan, if you can unmute yourself.
Very much. Can you hear me now?
Yep, name and address for the record, please.
Susie Moulton, 98 Washington Square East in Salem. Just a
Yep.
brief word. I am president of the Friends of the Salem Common. We are a nonprofit that was created just about a year ago, and our mission is to partner with the city of Salem and raise funds and collaborate on all efforts to restore, beautify, maintain, care, and advocate for the Salem Common. As you know, the Salem Common is the front door to the city, and its importance to residents and visitors alike has been on full display during this pandemic, when 50 to 100 people a day walk the Common day in and day out. The fence and the bandstand need investment, but so too do the historic and aging trees, the lights, benches, the soil, and more. We cannot take this glorious Common for granted. The Common needs our collective care and investment. The Signature Parks Initiative is one concrete sign of this commitment, and we support its passage. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Barbara Warren, and Barbara can't be with us, but she submitted a letter for the record, which I shall read in. Salem Sound Coast Watch, December 3rd, 2020. Dear Honorable City Councilors, I'm writing on behalf of Salem Sound Coast Watch, urging you to support funding the Signature Parks project. This bond funding would improve 6 highly used parks across Salem. Studies shows that a park use lowers the risk of stress, obesity, respiratory problems, cancer, and diabetes. Increased exposure to green space has also been linked to higher cognitive abilities, reduction in aggressive behaviors, and stronger sense of community. There's a link to an article that will be into the record. I am sure you're aware that Salem Sound Coast Watch is very concerned about the impacts of climate change on our community and works with Salem to build resiliency. With increasing summer heat, and community parks will be more and more important to Salem's residents as a refuge. This funding is critical for the Forest River Pool project. The city has been aggressively seeking grant funding, but the project deserves to be built in a timely fashion. The need is now. The pool has been closed for 4 summers. Don't let it be another 10 years. I am sure that the pool is sorely missed by residents and children from South Salem and the Point neighborhoods who used to walk and ride their bikes to cool off in the pool. The new pool design removes it from the threat of being flooded by current and future storm surges, preserves the historic bathhouse while adding a room for multi-seasonal use, and improves a large section of the Forest River that has been neglected, just to highlight a few of its unique benefits. As we have seen with city projects that have been delayed, the cost always increases with the city's strong bond rating and extreme low interest rates. The timing of this bond funding makes perfect sense. It is wise, forward-thinking decision. I hope you will agree. Sincerely, Barbara Warren, Salem Sound Coast Watch. With that, next up we have Steve Kapantis.
Steve, I'm going to unmute you. If you want to unmute yourself, you state your name and address for the record, please.
Steve Kapantis, 23A Wisteria Street, Salem, Mass. Good evening, councilors. When I first heard about the $16.1 million bond for our parks, my first thought was, that's great, but it's not nearly enough money to address all concerns at all parks. My next thought was, how much of this is going to be spent specifically on accessibility and maintenance? When it was presented at council last month for first passage, there were very little details provided. And it seemed the general consensus was interest rates are low, our bond rating is high, and we have debt coming off the books, so we should do this. I agree, these points are valid, but there were no specific details provided about what we were accomplishing. I provided my comments that if we are investing an additional $16 million into our parks, that accessibility and maintenance must be included in details provided. I was hopeful that those details would be provided at the Finance Subcommittee. However, that was not the case. My concerns are similar for all of the signature parks, but I will focus on Forest River Park because that is the one that I have the most information on. First, in regards to Forest River pool design and planning, I think the city, and more specifically the Park and Rec Department, has done an excellent job in communicating the details of this plan, including both accessibility and maintenance of the pool, splash pad, buildings, and coastal areas. The meetings have actually been quite enjoyable to learn. Next, this bond request provides no details regarding accessibility and maintenance for areas outside of the swimming pool at Forest River. Furthermore, there are no plans or funds identified to make the playground structures or picnic tables accessible or a plan for maintenance of the park areas and beaches. Simply put, if there's no plan or funds assigned, those will not be completed. This same theme is true for all of these signature parks. At the end of this 6-year plan, we will be left with signature parks that all have some components that are accessible and some components that have a maintenance plan. However, we will not have one single park in the city that meets ADA or one that has a complete maintenance plan in place for the entire park. The city needs to prioritize at least one park in its entirety to meet ADA and have a detailed maintenance plan in place for the entire park. One park that is 100% accessible and has a fully funded maintenance plan is far greater than 6, that have partial accessibility and partial maintenance. Maybe Aristotle said it best, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. As I stated earlier, I'm in favor of improving our parks. However, the current plan leaves us with a bunch of parts and nothing that is whole. And I'm asking that you do not support passage of this bond tonight until details of accessibility and properly funded maintenance plans are provided for at least one park in its entirety. Thank you for your time.
Next up, we have Alice Merkel.
Alice, I'm going to allow you to speak. If you can unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, thank you. Alice Merkel, 28A Federal Street, Unit 2 here in Salem. And I want to voice my support for the Signature Parks bond funding. Authorizing these funds will allow funding to maintain and preserve our parks and open spaces, which is not only a benefit to all of us, but for future generations as well. With the interest rates low and our bond ratings strong, I think it makes solid financial sense to take this action now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on my list, I have Jeff Cohen.
All right, let's see. Jeff, I'm going to allow you to speak. Please unmute yourself and name and address, please.
Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street, Vice Chair, Salem Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee, CERC. I want to express disappointment that the Green Building Ordinance written by CERC, submitted to the Council and moved to the Public Health, Safety, and Environment Subcommittee never received a hearing that was committed to by the Chair and was not carried into 2021. The City Council has passed 100% clean energy, carbon pricing, and Green New Deal resolutions, but waving resolutions around won't fix the climate crisis Salem is already enduring. CERC spent 5 months writing the ordinance, and there has been dialogue with city departments, environmentalists, residents, and others. Inaction is unfortunately action in this case. I'd also like to voice strong support of the park bond. This bond will enable us to make parks more accessible and safer. They will make it so that we can restore coastal ecosystems that will withstand climate change, protecting our parks. They will include sustainable green infrastructure that will benefit our youth and future generations. They will save taxpayers money as it's less expensive and more efficient to protect than deal with the known subsequent consequences. Voting down this bond is irresponsible and will reduce access, safety, adversely affect our environment, and increase the tax burden. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the last one. We're going back to Fuzzy. Madam City Clerk, did he log back on?
Yes, he did. All right, Fuzzy, let's try it again. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, how's it now?
Much better.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Fawaz Abu Shark for Harrison Road. I'm going to talk about a couple of things, but they are related to one issue. We are in a pandemic. The city and the people are in a very tough situation. A lot of unemployment, a lot of people barely making it, and many people barely putting food on the table. And the Salem Pantry, the what do you call it, the Life Bridge, and any organization that supports people will tell you that we are in a very tough situation as a city and as the whole country in general, but as Salem in a very, very tough situation for people to actually go and pay their bills and things like this. And this brings me to two things, the tax hike and the bond. It's a good time because rates are low and the bond is high and whatever, but like I said a couple of days ago in the committee meeting, it's never a good time to add to your debt unless you are in a situation where you can pay. To pay $100,000 when you have no money is much harder and worse than paying $120,000 when you have the money. So we need to prioritize what we want to do. I'm not saying the parks aren't important. I'm not saying not any of this work isn't really urgent and very important to the city. What I'm saying here is we need to prioritize at this time when we are in a very tough financial situation, especially for the Salem people. Now we need a break. We do not need to increase any payment, any debt, anything where the people have to pay it. I understand prices go up every year. If we minimize our spending, maybe we don't have to do the tax hike as much as we do, especially in the property. Last year, we were told a two-family is going to add about $98. Actually, the figure, I looked it up because I still have the papers. We were told $98. I ended with 206 some change, 207. And if you remember, Mr. President, and many of the councilors who were there last year, I stood there and I said, I will take 150. I knew the 98 doesn't exist and it's not going to happen. And guess what? Even the 150 didn't happen. My worst wishes didn't happen. So I honestly do not support the bond or any borrowing or any increase on the people at this time. We suffer enough. I know you're taxpayers just like everybody else. And I know the mayor is like she said, and we are all taxpayers. But there is a difference between a taxpayer who still has his job or her job, who still can afford what's coming and their income did not get affected like me, or I don't know if it happened to you, Mr. President, or not, but I know the mayor income didn't get affected neither. So we might be able to take this little of increase. Most people are not in our shoes. Most people, it's not even paycheck to paycheck. They are already the 1 or 2 paychecks behind and trying to catch up. And now they are taking away, the eviction without the Fed. There are many things happening at the same time, increasing money and taxes on the people of Salem or put them in any kind of debt at this point is irresponsible. In my opinion, I could be totally wrong. I think Salem people deserve a break. Salem people deserve some kind of discount, some kind of a sale at this time. Hopefully by next year, the vaccine is coming, things go back to normal, prices should go back to normal. All these projects we're doing now that we're gonna be paying more because material is more money and everything went up because of the pandemic, all this is gonna go back to normal or not as expensive at least. I think it makes sense to prioritize things, see where our main interest and where our main spending should be, give the people a break, and next year, hopefully things will get much better, people will go back to work, and everybody will have the regular income, or hopefully more, or however it works. But we need to give our people a breather. We need to tell them we feel you. It's not always, this is what we want, and you guys have to pay it no matter what. And I'm gonna use your words, Mr. President. I know how to count. You always say that when you look at things, you know how to count. And I know how to count. And I know the 6 votes are there. But I'm hoping, like many people who play lottery, they play again and again and again, knowing they're going to lose. But somebody will hit it. Let me tell you something. I stopped playing lottery a long time ago. And that will tell you what I think about this. But I still have to say it. The people out there have to hear it. And many people need to understand there are some people who are going to oppose this, and they're going to look up for the people of Salem. And this is why we keep speaking. We need to distinguish who is looking up for Salem's people and who is looking up for their own interest. I hope some of you will switch their opinion and stand up with the people of Salem. Thank you very much. God bless you all, and Merry Christmas, because we're not going to see you till the next New Year. Happy New Year. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, is that it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to point out that Dennis Maroney had emailed this morning requesting to speak. And I wasn't sure if that got lost in the emails.
Whom did they email?
It was forwarded to me. I'm sorry. Hold on. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Eileen. Thank you, Madam City Clerk.
I'm sorry. What was the name? It was Ann?
Dennis Maroney.
Eileen, it's in your basket. It's a letter from the Salem Common Neighborhood Association.
Okay. I thought it was just a letter sent to disperse to the council.
Right.
Sorry. The Salem Common Neighborhood Association? Yes. Okay.
Is he in attendance?
Yes.
Okay.
Dennis, I'm going to unmute you, allow you to speak. I apologize for that.
No problem.
And if you want to unmute yourself, Dennis, and state your name and address for the record, please.
Happy to do so. I'm Dennis Maroney. I'm president of the Salem Common Neighborhood Association, and I live at 98 Washington Square. Thanks for the time to cover it. I know you guys are pressed for time. You have a lot on your plate. I had sent you a note on behalf of our board supporting the Signature Park initiative back on the 19th. So I won't be redundant on what's in that note that reflects the opinion of the folks in the Salem Common neighborhood. I would say, which other people have already emphasized, seems like a good deal financially, seems like a good time to move on it. And I think all the parks really it's an investment in the future. Everybody needs the green space to be able to get out there and enjoy it. And it's a multi-generation type of thing. I had mentioned to Christine, my daughter was a Girl Scout and was a volunteer at Pioneer Village taking care of the goats. And she now has bought a house in the Willows. So we're very happy that she's here in Salem with us, and those various parks that we've been exposed to are great from that standpoint. So a long-term investment in the future is never a bad idea. And I just commend the work that you folks have done and hope that we'll go ahead and pass it from that standpoint. And then I hope everybody likes the decorations on the commons. We got everything set up on Sunday, and then of course the wind blew and knocked the tree over and all the ornaments, so we had to put everything back up, but everything is back up and operational with help from Ray and the other folks at DPS, as well as our volunteers. So thank you all for what you do, and that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was it. No one else, Madam City Clerk?
No.
Okay. No one has their hand up? Perfect. Hearings.
All right. You want to start with the tax rate or?
I'm on page 4.
Okay. All right. We have a public hearing on the issue of allocating the local property tax levy among the 4 property classes for fiscal year 2021 and the residential open space and small commercial exemption options.
I know we have Deb Jackson with us this evening, as well as the mayor. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to the mayor and Deb for their presentation.
Okay, I'm going to put the presentation up on the shared screen. Give me a minute here. Let me just get this over. View. In 1 second, I just want to get it in reading view. The only problem I'm having is just moving it. I'm not going to worry about it. Our annual visit to the city council and mayor for the classification hearing. And I thought it was appropriate to have an evening shot of City Hall for this year. Thought it was a good picture. The Board of Assessors every year has to analyze all the sales. And our Board of Assessors are not with us tonight. They're actually listening, but we have 3 members, Tina Zolano, Bob Millerick, and Rich DeGolta, who are probably listening from home. And our 2 assessors in here, Jim Bond and Stephen Fortes, who all 6 of us end up doing the work that's necessary to get the values ready for each year. Can everybody see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So at the classification hearing, we're required by law to perform annual review of all property sales, income and expense, and allocate each class appropriately. By mass law, we have to maintain a full and fair cash value, which we do by collecting and analyzing information about physical characteristics of all the property in the market. It is our recommendation that the city approve or support the residential factor of 80, adopt the residential factor of 84.9947 for fiscal year 2021. Every year, what we do is just to explain to some of the new members, the levy is the amount of taxes that we collect, which this year would be $107,301,006. That's the amount to be raised. The levy limit is equal to the levy limit last year, plus the 2.5% in new growth, which is significantly higher at over 111 million. And then the levy ceiling is just 2.5% of all the value that we never ever get up that high. The new growth helps us which we have raised 1.6 million this year. It just keeps us with the growth under the levy limit. This year, our excess levy capacity is 4.6 million, which is a hefty amount below what we could be raising. The job of the city councilors tonight actually are 4 things: is to select that minimum residential factor, vote on, which we encourage, we don't have any open space, so vote no on the open space discount. The residential exemption, we suggest voting no on that due to the fact that 80% of the owners of property in Salem, of households in Salem, are owner occupied, which just would be shifting the rate. And nor do we encourage a small commercial exemption as well. In general, we've gone up 8% on the residential property. This year has been a certification year for us. So despite COVID, we've been out reviewing all properties. We've driven up and down streets. We've looked at taken our certification detail as far as grades on all properties and made sure that our information is correct. It's a year we put a little bit of extra effort into everything we do. So some of the change in value is growth. Some of it is market increase. Some of it is properties that this year we make sure we try and get into more properties. Even with COVID, we've been doing a lot of external, but we still have kept up with some of the interior inspections as well. The commercial properties have gone up 7% overall. These numbers are a little rounded. We've seen a lot of growth. Commercial, we have a lot of new mixed-use properties that have commercial on the first floor and residents on the upper levels. Industry is pretty flat. We've seen some of our industrial properties being converted to residence and mixed use. Personal property, we have a significant increase due to a change in methodology in assessing utilities. So that's a big boost to the commercial value, which also helps with the tax rate. So overall, we have an 8% increase in total value and just a change, an overall change of just 9%. Just to break it down a little bit on what we have to go through in order for us to do our jobs. We analyze, we have 691 sales, although that's not a huge amount. Our two largest classes are the condominiums and the single family. And then the multifamilies, they're fewer number, 67 sales. Some are larger properties, so the larger multifamilies and the commercial and industrial, we do also an income and expense. So we collect a lot of data every year just to be able to have do the analysis each year to come up with our values. Just to give you a pie chart, you can see the majority of the parcels in Salem are singles and condos. I'll talk about them a little bit later, but we have been losing a few 2 families and 3 families and the multis. When I started working here 20 years ago, we had 2,000 2 families. So we've seen a lot of condo conversions and a lot of new construction, new condo construction as well. The next slide is just really breaking each out by class. It also goes with the slide after it, but just showing you just by each different type of property that we assess, the singles, the condos, and just the increases in value each year. Again, the personal property is the largest increase. And if you look, you can go back and forth, but the next slide really sort of is analyzing. We added 33 new single-family dwellings, 68 condo units, of which conversions and new. We have 16 fewer 2-family properties, of which are probably the condo conversions, 4 fewer 3 families, which are probably the condos. And we have 44 less vacant residential lots, which are being converted into houses. We're still seeing a lot of growth in the Woodlands project up off of Clark Street and the other project off of Marlborough Road. That's just becoming a wonderful neighborhood. The key thing on this, as far as market and growth, I just wanted to separate the growth out a little bit. Our overall numbers are a little over 7%, but growth, the new construction is the 1% of the singles, the 1% of the 2s and 3s and condos. The mixed use and residential, it was an overall 10%, but of that 10%, 4% of that is new construction. The commercial, we have a hefty growth. Some of that is the mixed use, the hotel. In industrial properties, we have not had significant growth in industrial properties for quite some time. And always one of our largest growth sections is the personal property. Every year that's usually about 33% of our growth, if not more. And next slide is how the growth affects the levy limit and where the numbers come from. But you can see where it's broken out. We had 22 million plus in value for singles, 15 million in condominiums, about 4 million in the 2 and 3 family units. The multifamilies, this includes mixed use and just apartment buildings, is our largest growth factor this year. In commercial, it's a combination. It seems like all the new projects that we have in town are mixed use. They have some commercial component. So we've seen growth in that. And again, personal property, we always have a hefty amount in the personal property for a total of 1.649602 thousand. So, which is pretty typical of what we've been doing for growth over the last few years. Just to show you a couple of the properties that prior to conversion to either apartment buildings or mixed use, 72 Flint Street, it was a commercial property, and the taxes were $23,844. That's in 2018 when it was vacant. And now, not complete, this was as of June 30th, the value has gone up to $13,380,000, and the taxes are almost $200,000 now. That will rise with the completion of that property. And the next slide of the hotel downtown, 231 Washington Street and 11 Dodge Street. The old assessment as just a commercial property was approximately 1.6 million, with the taxes of about 50,000. And the new assessment, also an incomplete project, was almost 1.8 million, 18 million, almost 18 million. And the taxes this year are 367,130, which will go up. In each class every year, we just compare, the averages from 2000, the prior year to this year. The exact numbers are the singles up 7.24%. A lot of the new construction is selling for, or the values are significantly higher than the average. The condos, it hasn't gone up that much, 325 for an average, 325,400 for an average condo, 4.6% higher. The two families have gone up almost 8%. The threes, and these are really more based on the sales, the threes up 12.5%. It seems to be we have most of the three families by the college, and it just seems like people can't get enough of them, whether they're being converted or most people are renting them out, and the prices are just going up considerably. Apartment buildings have gone up a little over 6%, and commercial has also gone up a little over 6%. A lot of that is the new mixed use, but it's the commercial side that's the increase. As I said on the bottom, this does not include the power plant. This year, just taxes to be raised, that levy limit is at $111,930,861. And to be raised for taxes is $107,301,006. So that still leaves us with 4.662855 below the levy limit, which is significant. And that gives us an excess levy capacity. So I think, we've done a good job this year. The mayor's done a good job this year trying to keep us well below the levy limit and not go up as much as we could. Not a lot of communities this year have already had their hearing. We put Somerville in just because it's a city. But in general, we're still this year at the low end of average increase for a single family. And the 10-year average is about, well, the 10-year average is right around 3% for an increase. We have gone up, we have gone down, but it does vary each year. So I'm happy to see that. These slides are the usual standby, but just the majority of the houses, at least the value is below the average. 63% of the property's single-family value is below the $439,900. The condos are more even. You know, it's 48% above, 52% below. And the condos this year, the average increase is not, there is no increase. They're flat. And that's, last year they had a high increase, and I'm not really sure why exactly, but we had more sales at the lower value, or we have more sales, so sometimes I think it's easier to be tighter in the whole market, and a lot of values had gone up last year and we had captured it. I'm not 100% sure why, but the average ends up keeping us, so it's not much of an increase for the condos this year. The twos have gone up $204 on average, and which would be $102 per unit, with an average value going up slightly.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, he told me he loved me.
And the
I told my decorator's Uncle Stone.
The three
My mother
family.
swore it and said it was just a little.
The three families, there's an average increase of $539, which equals approximately $180 per unit increase. But still, the majority of the properties, 57% of the three-family value is below the $570,000. This year, the commercial values have gone up. The average is $741,300. The majority of Salem commercial properties are below. Last year, the average increase was approximately $1,200. This year, it's down to closer to $650. So with the extra commercial growth through the personal property, that just tempers that considerably. And we have gone up on the split, but I think it's a fair change. Overall, we continue to have residential growth in value much more significantly than the commercial industrial. It's just the nature of what's happening in Salem these days. And so it is our recommendation that the City Council select the residential factor at 1.7 with the 0.849947 or 84.9947. And then the votes, you would say no on the open space discount and the residential exemption and the small commercial exemption. So with the split, you start with residential values at 82% of the pie. Through the split, it lowers it a little over 12%. The commercial, industrial, and personal property part of the pie do go up more with the 1.7 split. So that's how the split has worked. And Salem has had a split rate as long as I've been here, which is over 20 years. So it's recommended with the 1.7 that the residential rate would be $1,380 and the commercial rate would be $2,760. And that's it for the presentation, and open for questions.
Before we open it to questions, I know the mayor's in attendance. Mayor Driscoll, is there anything you'd like to add before we open it up to questions?
I'm happy to answer questions, and I'd like to reserve any comments until after we've heard from others, if that's okay with you, Counselor.
Sure, that's fine. That being said, before I open it up, I'll take questions from counselors. Deb, can you please?
Get rid of this?
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay. I need bigger squares. I need to see everyone at once.
All right. I knew how to open it. I'm not 100% sure how you close this.
You just need to turn off the screen sharing.
Uh-oh. All right, here we go. Turn off screen share. Stop share. Here we go.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
That being said, any members of the council have any questions for Deb before we open it up? Councilman Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you to Deb. Thank you for all the work, all the analysis behind this work. I know it's very complex and requires a lot of effort, so I appreciate all the work you've done. Can you talk more about the small commercial exemption and what are the factors that go into this calculation and why you recommend that we do not adopt this exemption this year, given challenging circumstances with our small businesses? Thank you.
I'm trying to look in here. Give me a minute. I really simply is that it really just, most of our businesses are low. We've had a high tax rate. I personally think the tax burden for the commercial is very high at 1.7. And I think it might be something down the road to take up. One thing that is a bit of a problem this year is we're still looking back at 2019 for information from properties. I don't have a good answer because we just have never gone this route before. It's just really adjusting. We've done, hasn't been on the table. I don't know, Mayor, if you have a response to that.
I will say the small property tax, small commercial property tax exemption creates a shift and would increase homeowner tax exemptions. So typically, we have not wanted to move commercial tax revenues over and shift that burden to residential property taxes. These are exemptions that we would have to also qualify individual businesses. There's only parameters that apply for the qualifying small business. The parcel has to be occupied by it. You have to meet certain thresholds. When you start lining up all those thresholds, there's not as many businesses in Salem that actually apply for that would actually comport to that.
If I can just add something, that is a formula-based decision that you make, because with some communities, it works that residents will get a benefit to that. In other communities, it doesn't work and it can cause your taxes to be higher. So it really depends on how many residents are owned and occupied by individuals. And so that does vary from community to community, and there's not a lot of communities that necessarily benefit from that.
Thank you, Mr. President, if I may, with a follow-up.
Yep, still the floor.
Thank you. I think I'm just trying to understand what those specific parameters are to define what small businesses could potentially qualify. And I wasn't sure if that's already been looked into before you decided to recommend to this body that we do not take on this exemption. And I understand that you kind of have to draw the box for everyone to fit into if this is to be adopted, but I was hoping that work would have been done, given this year that the smallest businesses would hugely benefit from this exemption. I'm thinking of some of the kind of not air, but local B&Bs who owners, they live in their businesses. Those are the kind of businesses that we could have supported through this kind of exemption. And perhaps, and I understand that these recommendations are an output of past data, when we were still doing very well. And I hope that this will be considered for future fiscal years to kind of offset the challenges we face this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
So can I just add a few other points to this? Because we have looked at this in the past, Counselor. We didn't take a hard look at it this year. There's a couple of things that should also be, that I should call out. One, it doesn't actually impact homeowners. This would impact other commercial property owners. So it stays within that commercial industrial property tax. And you'd essentially be shifting any exemption that you granted to a smaller business to a bigger business. To be honest, we don't have that many big businesses. If you look at the menu of commercial activities that are here, it's not as though there are Raytheons and then there are small mom and pops. Most of our businesses fit within the small to medium range. The classification, just to further qualify it, indicates that you have to be a class 3 commercial property occupied by a business with an average annual employment of no more than 10 people and assessed valuation of less than $1 million. You also have to certify all these properties in July of this year. You'd have to have done like a certification for who fits that qualification in order to put this in place. We have not done that because we have not looked at this year. We have looked at it in prior years and discarded it because it doesn't impact people. It doesn't impact businesses in a helpful way. You end up just shifting a lot of things within the same class. We're happy to take a look at it again if the council wanted to. Well, obviously we couldn't look at it. We could look at it for next year. We couldn't look at it for this year, this fiscal year. But in our past review of this, it actually is not beneficial given the makeup and scale of our business community.
You all set, council? Thank you. Anyone else on the council?
Hi.
Council Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know sometimes it's mentioned about the difference between what residential tax rate is and the business and the commercial tax rate. And I know this is a different year. I'm not necessarily referring to this year. Some of the businesses have had tough times, but so have a lot of the homeowners. And I like to argue that the largest business in our city is the collective homeowners of this city, who all go out and work jobs, pay their city, state, and local taxes, and then decide to go out and spend their money at those businesses. So indirectly, the residential taxpayers of the city are paying the commercial tax rate by being good customers. And that's why I believe they get a little bit less of a tax rate than the commercial entity. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone appearing in favor? Or in this case, or opposed? I see, Madam City Clerk, am I seeing 2 people with their hands up?
Yes. I don't know if they're a favor opposed, but we can just call them.
That's fine.
Okay. So I'm gonna, Jeff, I'm going to, since you're the first on the top, allow you to speak for the public hearing. If you can just unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Jeff Millar, 29 Boardman Street here in Salem. I feel like this is an underrated meeting that takes place every year, though I also feel like it's a little bit less important than the budget passage that takes place in frequently May, or I feel like this year was probably closer to late June based on everything that was going on. Because in that meeting, the city council agrees how much money the city's going to spend every year. And tonight is really about how are we going to divide that up? So I would challenge any counselor who's going to argue against setting the tax rates as they're being set, to be very specific about who they think should be taxed more. Because as a body, you've all agreed how much you're going to tax roughly for the next fiscal year. And I would also say that, you know, I hear a lot of talk about homeowners and business owners. I don't hear a lot of talk about renters. And we have a lot of renters here in Salem. And the idea that renters don't pay the residential tax rate is a little bit farcical to me. And in addition to paying the residential tax rate, a renter also pays the trash fee, because we can pretend we charge that to the landlord, but we do not. And when we want to talk about affordability, I know that as somebody who came to Salem 16 years ago as a renter for a year, and as a condo owner for 7 years, and as a homeowner for a few years after that, and then as a renter for a few years after that, I've paid property taxes every year I've lived here. And I just think that we need to be very careful about talking about homeowners and business owners and not talking about renters, because renters could lose their housing at any moment. It does not take much. Homeowners, there's a much more rigorous process for that. Business owners, I mean, you know, our businesses are struggling right now, and I don't think anybody would argue against that. But we need to really think about how we want to tax. And if we're going to say I can't approve of this tax rate, I would ask every single one of you to say, well, if I don't want to tax it this way, here's how I want to tax it. And I want you all to remember that you've already approved a budget that requires you to raise the amount of funds that you have to raise. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, Madam City Clerk?
Yes, just disabled. We have Steve Kapantis with his hand raised. Steve, I'm going to allow you to speak. You can again name and address for the record.
Thank you. Steve Kapantis, 23A Wisteria Street. I just have a couple of questions on two of the slides. They went over some of the new condos and how much revenue would be getting. One was Flint Street, and I forget what the other one was, but it was a nearly $14 million valuation. Both of those, you know, if you divide the revenue into the evaluation there, you're getting something that's 2% or less of a tax that's being paid. So they assume that either that's a partial number of money, or, you know, there were some tax benefits for both of those. So my question for those slides is, are they getting a tax incentive, and when does it end in the future would be question one. And then my second question, I think it's more of a comment than a question. I have concerns when, you know, I hear comments like, well, we don't know why it's flat, why condos is at 0%, right? We have the data there. I suspect that it's probably because the data wasn't represented for value per square foot. And perhaps, you know, some of the new condos that were sold in the last year were smaller and therefore brought the value down. But just not really a question, but maybe perhaps next year we can bring in that value, the dollar per square foot evaluation, instead of just an average. Thank you.
Thank you. Deb, you want to address that question? Or, wait, hold on one second, Deb. Is there anyone else have the hand up?
Yes. Fuzzy.
Should I?
Do you want to answer the question first, Deb, or you want to wait till everyone's made statements?
I can answer the 72 Flint and the 231 Washington Street.
Sure, why don't we do that?
We have a cutoff date of June 30th for assessment purposes, and both those projects are incomplete. There is not any tax benefit to either of those properties, but they had, despite having an exterior, there was limited interior finish or incomplete interior finish as of June 30th to both properties, and that we're stuck with dates. So both those properties do not have any tax breaks, and their assessments will go up for next year.
based on the fact that they have their occupancy permits.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up is Madam City Clerk. Is it Buzzy?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, if you can unmute yourself again and name and address to the record.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Fawaz Abu Shark for Harrison Road. It's actually a question and a fast one. Every year we're here, we're doing the same thing, and every year the numbers are off by a ton. I just mentioned it in my earlier comment. Last year it was almost $100. It came over 200. The year before, why are our numbers that off? With all due respect to all the work, I'm not trying to say somebody's not doing their work hard or they're trying to deceive or something. It's just, I'm honestly puzzled why our numbers are off, and by a huge amount, many times over 100% off. Is there an answer for this question? Thank you.
Thank you. Deb, could you explain how it's an average of a single-family home based on evaluation at the time of when we evaluated, and that's how we come up with the number, as opposed to, I can't comment on what his personal home is valued at, whether it's single-family, two-family, or how he fits in or above the average. So can you explain to us once again how the average works?
I mean, certainly with the average increasing, unfortunately, we go out, we see changes in houses, we see additions, we see some neighborhoods that might have been significantly lower that might go up a little more than another neighborhood. It's building style if we see an overall average of increase. Measurements, it's every single factor. Some neighborhoods are increasing faster than others. There are some neighborhoods that might only go up 2%. This year, it seemed like we had more of an even average across the board of about 5 or 6% across the board. But definitely different neighborhoods change in different ways. And Department of Revenue has us divvy up the city in different locations, which some are increasing faster than others. So it's a lot of variables that we have to look at. The multis, we're seeing apartment buildings. Last year, the multis did not go up as much. The condos went up significantly more. I think we have more condo sales. Yes, it is easier with more properties to do the analysis. I know condos sell per square foot. Last year, I know a lot of the sales we're seeing this year are now selling for $400 a square foot. Condos also cover some lower end that can get wrapped in on that value just because there are different types of condos, which can give it a range. But we see condo sales from $250 to $600 a square foot. So that's a broader range on that. But as far as the different properties, it's really neighborhood, building type, condition, averages in that neighborhood. So.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yep.
Okay, just to go this last year, the two-family average was $479,000 price, and the estimate on it was $98 increase. My house was $489. The increase in the tax, as I explained, $206 some change, almost $207. So this explanation doesn't really show that the numbers we are using, even when they are that close, the amount is really that huge and big of a difference. So there is something beside neighborhoods and something. There has to be a better explanation why something with the average and with everything, with the numbers that we are using, yet the final result is that much difference and incorrect. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess it would just be the old adage, location, location, location. But it's part of the factor as well. But Laurie Giardelli has her hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, so the average rate, just to sort of clarify it for him, is really based on what the value of his house is compared to what the average of the average home is valued at. And so if his value is higher than what is considered the average rate, then his rate is going to increase by more than what we're calculating to be the average rate. So I don't know that everyone understands that, but we take the numbers that we put on the recap sheet and we divide them by the number of units that are in that category, and that's how you come up with the average. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice, but so these are just mathematical numbers that we have consistently used every year, and other communities use this same formula to determine what that average increase is going to be. So I hope that helps clarify it a little bit.
Thank you. I mean, I remember one year we had the slides out, and I think there was, Deb, correct me if I'm wrong, we had the average single family home, and there was one house in the whole entire city that was valued at that amount. So that person knew that was the number. Other than that, everyone else was above or below. But there was one house that was single family home that was at that number, or whatever the valuation was that year, going back from memory. So, I know it's like an average, but it's a sliding scale, and it's based on a whole bunch of different factors. And I know that we use the same calculations that every other community uses, and they're governed by DO, the Department of Revenue, and every other state agency that makes sure we're doing crossing the I's and dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So, anyone else? Anyone else in the public, Madam City Clerk?
No.
No. Council Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. Deb and Laurie, great job on the numbers. If we thought back in March and April when COVID was first hitting us, that would be in this kind of shape. I'm amazed that things look this good. And so again, nice job on putting this together. I'm really surprised that we're not having a much tougher conversation. Actually, this is not even a tough conversation. I'm surprised that we're not having a difficult conversation, that the numbers might not look good. To back that up, let me use an example. I know we're going to be taking care of, we're going to be addressing the example I'm going to give later tonight. But what we're doing right now is on a fiscal year basis. But if we were talking about a calendar year basis, then we might have a better handle on COVID impacts, if you would. So let me throw this out. If we look at the revenues that we're going to be switching from the Witch House and the golf course and the Harbor Master on some of the profit that we made on those three, like we do every year, then we take those back and put them into the general fund to help offset the tax bills to the businesses and to the residents, everybody. So almost $1 million is being asked to be taken back and put back into the general fund this year to help keep the tax bill slower. That's a good amount. But if we did apples to apples and basing that around COVID and the impacts that COVID might have on everything, if we looked at the revenues for these three on a calendar year from 2019 to 2020, how do we look this year in receipts versus last year on a calendar basis? And is the impact from COVID on just these three examples that negative, or is there any impact? Thank you.
Who wants to attack that one?
Well, I can address it. I don't know that I have those numbers particularly ready right now, but I can try to pull them up. But basically, we experienced about a 3-month period of time where we had some some revenue sources that were much lower than what they normally are. And then we had, since July and August, and we have watched those revenues increase, and we're not completely back to where we were last year on a number of our funding lines, but a number of them are doing very well. So this year, the numbers are fluctuating, and areas such as cannabis is higher than what we projected. But we needed to be conservative when projecting those based on the DOR and how they want us to project those numbers. As far as the receipts, the golf course had a lot of work done this year, as well as having the COVID-19 hit. So there were some reductions in receipts, but the receipts were pretty strong once we opened up, and it was one of those avenues where people could actually be outside and have a little bit of the social life because they were outside. Other areas like the Witch House, they brought in fewer revenues, but that's why you can see some of these numbers are coming in, we're requesting less from those funds this year than we normally do. Usually it's somewhere, I believe, around $1.2 million or $1.3 million that we've been asking for, and this year we're under $1 million. So there are places where, it's hard to project some of these revenues because the numbers, we haven't experienced this in the past, so it's not always clear what's going to come in higher, what's going to come in lower. But so far, we've done very well with our I think better than what we expected in certain areas. And we worked really hard on the budget this year and making sure that we made cuts, and the mayor really did a number of things to help a number of commercial establishments as well as residents by keeping those expenses lower and making cuts wherever we could make them, and still maintain services that people expect from us.
Just to put a postscript on that, Counselor, the first quarter for meals and hotels. So hotels, Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, hotels were down 55% first quarter, and meals taxes were down 35% the first quarter. Now that's July, August, and September, because our fiscal year starts July 1. We'll get a better handle in January what second quarter looks like. Those tax revenues go into the state, and then we get a quarterly reimbursement of those, or payment to us for those. We had dropped our projections. We cut those substantially when putting this budget together in terms of what we thought the projections were going to be, recognizing we were in COVID and we were going to be off. So we're watching those numbers closely, and we'll know in January, how close and off the mark we are. We're feeling encouraged, but keep in mind we're encouraged that we're going to hit our number, but our number is less than prior years. Typically, those two revenue streams bring in about $1 million a year, $1 million in meals taxes, $1 million in hotels taxes. And we do have a new hotel. So, in a normal year, we would have been projecting increases. This year, we obviously had to project decreases.
Well, and we also don't know what's going to happen over the course of the next 3 to 4 months with the COVID-19. So hopefully, we're hoping that the numbers stay where they are, and we don't see too many reductions. But I think the cuts we made were very, they were as conservative as we could be, without making major cuts to services, and being able to provide resources where we needed to provide them. And just dealing with, I called up the schedules that you had asked for specifically on the golf course. And so, like I said, some of those numbers on the golf course and on the witch house were down, but we anticipated those cuts, and right now there's enough cash flow in those accounts to cover the expenses that are needed moving into this fiscal year and completing this fiscal year. So.
You all set, Council? You all set? Thank you. Council Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had a question for Laurie and the mayor. During our budget season last June, May and June, we were figuring on about 15%. We were looking at 10 to 20% cut in state aid. So we figured our budget at 15% in that $8+ million deficit we were looking at. But over the summer, it came through the State House that came in level funded. Same with the Chapter 70 money. And then you look at the figures of, we had positive growth of 1.6 million plus. So I kind of disagree with Mr. Milan when he called in and he said, you know what, as a council, we voted on this and we're stuck with this and we have to pay this. But you know what, there's more, it was less of a loss right now in December that we were looking at in June. So I was kind of hoping, couldn't the positive figures that we did have, and don't forget, we also did a pocket meter charges on Sundays too to make a little more money that we passed as a council. So my question is, the things are looking a little bit better financially. Could we have done a little better to try to stabilize the taxes instead of that $144 a year? It might not seem as much now, but as Fuzzy said, some are paying more than that, some are paying less. And when you look at the figures that we've gone up 160 per year on average for the last 10 years, that's $1,600. That's a lot of money for a lot of people, especially the elderly or those that have lost a job. So my basic question is, now that things look a little better with the state aid, Chapter 70 money, our growth seems very, very positive. Could we have done a better job of trying to stabilize things? So for once, for 1 year, we cannot have that increase in taxes and try to help people out, especially this year where a lot of people have lost their jobs. So that's basically my question. Thank you.
Laura, let me start and maybe you can fill in some of the blanks. Yep. I appreciate the question, Councilor Flynn, and I think it's an important one for us to answer. We cut the budget, as you know, in anticipation of less local aid coming in. It ended up not being quite 15. It was a little bit less than that, but a significant cut is what we anticipated. The budget increase was less than 1%. We asked employee groups to take furloughs, and we would have significantly tapped the levy capacity, or more significantly tapped it than we are, in order to make that budget balance, right? So we had less local aid coming in, which meant we'd have to take dollars out of our stabilization account, ask taxpayers to pay a little bit more. We would have hit that levy. We would have had less levy capacity left, meaning people would have been paying more to make up for those lost revenues. The good news is, looks like we're going to get level funded. I want to be clear, we haven't got it yet. The budget hasn't been adopted yet at the state level, but they seem to be indicated that's what's going to happen. The discussion that we had with the unions was that we would, if we got more local aid than we anticipated, we would not require furloughs. So we are going to have some supplementals to this budget because we took money away from folks in anticipation of reduced state aid, and we said if it came back, we'd make them whole. So there were folks who went without raises. There are positions in the fire department, for instance, I'll use that one, there's some vacancies there. You've got a supplemental in your budget tonight to help offset that, to make sure that we're actually getting a level of service that's equal, right? So we made up the reason we only went up 1% is because we asked for employees to give us some dollars back. We didn't fully fund all of the positions within certain departments. And we were going to ask taxpayers to pay more than $144. We were going to hit the levy and take money out of our stabilization account, significantly more than we are. With this particular budget proposal now, we're only going to be needing $500,000 out of free cash. We always usually take the receipts reserve, usually around $1 million. out of some of the revenues that we generate every year, knowing that we fund those budgets. We take the revenue that comes in to help offset the gross amount to be raised by taxation. So the hit would have been higher than 144 had we not gotten local aid at a higher number, because we would have had to tap the levy. We would have also used a lot of our stabilization dollars. We would have had to balance the budget. And I know it feels like, oh my gosh, 144 bucks, $160 a year on average, $1,600 over 10 years. That isn't insignificant. And people have heard me say this. I am a taxpayer too. I want to do everything we can to keep our property taxes low and reasonable. And as mayor, I have an obligation to present a budget to the city council for your approval that is balanced. Let's keep in mind that budget covers all of our operating costs, our capital costs for important city services. That includes public schools, police, fire, public works, park and rec, you know that. We approve that budget in June, and then we work hard to make sure we're providing adequate services in those areas. And that's how we contribute to the quality of life in our city. The way we fund those items, every single thing we count on in local government, the vast majority of it is through property taxes. Real estate taxes in Salem provide approximately 60% of the revenues we need to pay for the cost of city expenditures. And the majority of our our tax makeup is from residents. We don't have a mall, we don't have Route 1, we don't have large commercial areas. So the majority of the tax revenues come from homeowners. We maximize exemptions to help lower income residents, to help seniors, infirmed homeowners, disabled. We are maximized every state exemption, and you may recall, we've even asked the state to go further, right? To help us with seniors who may be what I call house rich, right? They've got a house that's escalated in value. They're paying property tax increases based on that, but maybe their incomes haven't gone up. We're still waiting on the legislature, hoping to approve that. We did that earlier this year, and as a means to even help more of our seniors. All of the rules regarding how we set property taxes, they're all set by Massachusetts state law. We go through this classification process, we go through this public hearing. Deb and usually a whole team of assessors, the Board of Assessors are here. All of those processes are set by state law. Who's in a classification? The taxes that are set according to what we need to raise to cover the expenditures and what individual properties are valued at. So what's it cost to run government, and what's the value of the property I live in? Those are the two most important contributing factors to your tax bill. We as a community decided we're going to split that rate, and so we charge commercial property owners a higher rate. We give homeowners a bit of a break. For the businesses that we do have, they're going to pay a higher sum. Again, most significant source of revenue needed to fund the city operations. So what do they pay for? Just every aspect of municipal government, from the social services that the senior center provides, maintaining our public buildings, keeping our libraries open, recreation, trash removal, snow removal, keeping vital records, cost of elections, all of it has to come from a revenue source. We've got to fund the people, the equipment, the supplies, keeping up with them. Before the start of the fiscal year, we go forward with a municipal budget process. We try and project the cost to run the government for the next fiscal year. In the budget that I submitted to the city council for the current fiscal year, we put that together after deliberation with department heads. What do we need? We know it's going to be a lean year. How can we deliver the services that people rely on at the lowest cost possible? This year's budget increased 0.32%. 0.32, that's less than 1%. Now it's going to go up a little bit more than that because we do have these supplementals that I just mentioned previously, but less than 1%, knowing that health insurance goes up, retirement costs go up, the cost of paving a road is more expensive this year than it was last year. When the budget's presented to the city council, the councilors hold budget hearings. Every single municipal department typically comes in. We go through all of the municipal spending. And frankly, I don't have the final say on that. You do. All of you do collectively, right? We go through all the items. Is there anything we can cut? What do we want to reduce? You've concurred with practically every bit of the budget estimates that we put forward to you. So we also have a levy limit we need to live within. The state of Massachusetts says, look, you can only charge 2.5% more than you did last year collectively, plus whatever new growth you get. So frankly, we're currently right now $4 million under the levy. We're nowhere near charging taxpayers the maximum that they can. Now, again, nobody wants to do that, But we could spend another $4 million and still be within Massachusetts property tax laws. When all is said and done, the average residential tax increase is one of the lowest in the regions. So yeah, $160 a year, it adds up. It's $1,600 over 10 years. But what did you get for that $1,600? What are the things that we invested in? Those of you who've been on the council for a while know. I went through and tried to look at a few of the items. We've invested in over 37 new police vehicles. We put roofs on 3 different buildings, the police department, the public services department, Bentley Elementary School. We put new windows in Old Town Hall and the library. We've done things like Bertram Fields, Blaine Park, Furlong Park, Mary Jane Lee Park, McGlue Park, Winter Island Trail. We've made transportation upgrades on Canal Street, First and Swampscott Road, Grove Street. We've maximized grants to do that. We've made improvements to the pedestrian mall. We've made improvements to Green Lawn Chapel. We've bought trees, a lot of trees, not as many as we'd like. We'd always like more trees, but we've spent a lot of money on trees. We've made improvements to the parking garage. We built a CLC. We put in new fiber optics. Every single aspect of running government has to be paid for. And we bring those costs to you. And we say, do you think these make sense? Is this manageable? Is this worth that $160? And for some, it's more than $160, right? That's just the average. Is that value? And we've invested in people, Counselor. Like, we don't understaff our departments. We don't have short staffing responding to calls. We've got one of the and you know this, one of the fastest response times. If you dial 911, you're gonna find somebody qualified, well-trained, well-equipped, and there quickly. So what did you get for your $160 a year? What did you get for that $1,600 increase over the last 10 years? On average, 3%. You've got these investments that we make in our community together. You as elected representatives, me as an elected mayor, putting a budget together, understanding what the quality of life is here that people expect. How do we keep it as low as we possibly can? We don't want to hit anybody over the head. But I know I want my kids to be in a classroom that doesn't have too many kids and only one teacher. And I want somebody responding quickly. And I don't want my parks a mess. And I'd like my roads to be improved. And could we always spend more on those things? Yes. We're trying to be judicious. What do we have for resources? What does it cost to run government? How can we be fair to the people who are paying them, including all of us, and the people who are paying them through rent, as was mentioned earlier? And that's what tonight is about. We decided how much we wanted to spend in June, collectively. Now it's a math exercise between valuation and how are we dividing it up? How much do we want commercial property owners to pay? How much do we want residential property owners to pay? And I hope you believe that you got your money's worth out of your last 10 years, that $1,600 increase. I hope you value the people, the equipment, the supplies, the investments in buildings, the public services, because we all collectively pay for it. And I would say to you, we're trying to do so in a way that's professional. You know, when I came in, we had a multi-million-dollar deficit. I think we were down 12 firefighters and 8 or 10 police officers. We're now at the point where we have our highest bond rating in the city's history. We are routinely recognized as part of the GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association, for having a budget that's based on real numbers, real practices. We work hard to make sure we're professional about how we deliver services, forward thinking about being in a city that has a lot on its plate and is on the rise. People want to live here. I think that in and of itself has some evidence. People want to come to Salem. Those who live here like living here. And those values are based on the investments we make every year through budgets and through the capital process. And tonight is the night, unfortunately, we need to figure out the bill. And I hope you see it, as I do, as our most important responsibility, deciding what we want to spend in June and then setting the rate to pay for it at the end of the calendar year.
Council Dibble, and then
Person from the public.
And then someone from the public. Council Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mayor, good answer. We've all heard you say many times over the last whole bunch of years that we voted for it. The council voted for it. So don't get defensive if we're asking some hard questions, because later you'll blame us that we voted for it. It's a team effort here. So I do like your answers, but you're a little bit too much on the defensive. We like the improvements happening in Salem. They're good. The downtown is electric. It's a fun place to go to. There's a high occupancy. Things look good there. A couple concerns I have is on relying on new growth. We've heard a lot about that on Tuesday night's committee meeting. We've heard a lot about it from you and the whole staff over the last couple of years. New growth is, if we have so much new growth happening, it helps keep the tax bills down. I was hoping this year during COVID that the tax bill would actually go down and not go up. It's only going up a little bit, $160 or whatever it is for the average single-family house. But I was hoping that it would go down this year, and that we would, we've taken measures to control our spending and control our costs. Some costs are fixed. Well, the lion's share of the costs are fixed. But I was hoping the bill on average would go down a little bit. So relying on new growth is scary, because when that new growth stops, our tax bills will go way, way up, in my opinion. I think everybody here in this room, in the Zoom room, would agree to that. Question that Lori threw out earlier on the cannabis sales. This city council, although we didn't tell you or order you, we made a recommendation a while ago when we were passing the cannabis laws. I think it was about 2 years ago now. I'm not sure. It was a while ago. That the cannabis, the profit off the sale of the cannabis from all the stores would go to directly offset the tax bill. It might even be residential tax bill. I'm not sure. But I'm wondering, how much did we taken in the cannabis sales profit, and how much of that is being offset to offset and keep the tax bills lower right now today?
Councilor, cannabis revenues are local receipt. So we bring in cannabis revenues just like we bring in building permit fees or parking fees. And so it helps offset the general cost of government. And that is reducing, obviously, the impact on taxpayers. Lori, do you want to speak to what the latest cannabis numbers were? This is a new industry. And I think the first year we came on board, it wasn't a full year of revenue. But I will say, as I mentioned before, hotels are down, restaurants are down, to be expected. Cannabis sales are up. So that's a good thing for us, because we do get a 3% excise on the sale of cannabis in our community. Do you have the latest figures, Lori, on that? I know we projected.
I'm opening it up right now.
Yeah. It was close to $1 million, I want to say, last year. But some of those dollars we don't expect them to be consistent, Councilor. As more communities build out retail cannabis shops, we would anticipate that some of our sales that might be coming from people who live in other communities might diminish, as there's just more availability of cannabis retail. We can get you that number, Councilor. I guess I just want to say, I'm sorry if I came across defensive. I'm not defensive. I'm actually really proud of the work we've done as a council and administration to have a professional budget process, to put ourselves in a position where we have stabilization revenues that we can tap if there's a catastrophe. We have a rainy day account. We have an opportunity that when we have economic downturns, that we can still deliver services, that we don't have to cut our way through things, and that we have a process that I think has worked, frankly, for the last decade and beyond, where it is very congenial. I view the council as partners in these efforts to achieve a high bond rating. And with respect to new growth is important. If you have another alternative for us to have those revenues come into our community, new growth is a plus for us. When you have costs going up every year and you have the same amount of people or homeowners to pay for it, if you have new growth, that provides additional property owners that can help offset the cost of increases. We know, I think this year, the cost of increases in running government were around $1.6 million. Health insurance, retirement, the trash contract going up, the fixed costs that we don't have as much say in as we might like go up, and it is helpful to have new growth. Communities that don't have new growth are typically towns, to be quite honest, and they hit their levy capacity. And then if there's a downturn in either a receipt coming into them, a local aid receipt, or just less money being available, they have to seek overrides. The number of communities that seek overrides is because they're at their maximum levy capacity and they need more money to actually fund government, and they don't want to make really harsh cuts. So I think we're fortunate that we're under the levy. The reason we're under the levy is because we've had good new growth numbers. When a former, leather factory turns out to a mixed-use project, I think the two examples Deb showed earlier, the two properties are about $500,000 of some of that new growth that we're seeing. They're not only providing, housing units for people in our community, but they're also providing new revenues that are important to help us spread the cost among more people and reduce that impact. So without those things, our increases would be higher.
And just so you know, so far to date, we have collected almost $3.3 million in cannabis receipts. That's from from 2016. Last year, in fiscal year 2020, we received $2,031,000 in cannabis receipts. That's including excise as well as the agreements with them for. And when we projected our receipts this year to set the tax rate, we included, I think it was $1 million or $900,000, something along those lines. So I think cannabis is definitely an area where that's a resource, and we'll have to monitor that closely and see what happens. But in other areas, our receipts are down. As the mayor had said earlier, our meals and hotel excise taxes are down this year. And it's hard to say what's going to happen in the next few months. So I expect those will remain low for a while, and especially since we're going into the colder weather. But as far as one of the other things that you touched on, which I think the mayor is always looking to save the taxpayer money, and the excess levy capacity is an area that over the years, like she said, could be assessed so that we could do other projects or do other things, but we're very mindful here in Salem of trying to not increase taxes to a point that is unmanageable for its citizens.
Anyone else? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to follow up, I'm concerned about the amount of money that we are spending, and that we're relying on new things happening to us. We've got a hotel, which whether you like the design or don't like the design, doesn't matter. I think most everybody will agree that a hotel coming in and paying the taxes and the room taxes on top of that is a good thing for our city. Rather than stay at a hotel over in Peabody, come to Salem, park your vehicle, and then walk everywhere around. That's a good thing. Rather than other towns making the profit, some of that will come to Salem now. So that's a good thing. So new growth is good if it's the right type of growth. And so we're relying on a lot of new growth. We're now relying on the cannabis sales. We didn't have this new growth. We didn't have the cannabis sales a couple of years ago. And if we look at our numbers for our tax bills and we factor in the new growth, the power plant, the cannabis, and basically doing fairly well at the golf course and these other smaller things. But yet our tax bills are still going up with all this additional monies coming in. It's $3 million here. New growth is whatever the millions of dollars there is. Well, if you add them all up, again, I think our tax bills should be going down. Instead, they're going up a little bit, as the mayor says, but I think it should be going down. And we're relying upon these other things. So if cannabis falls through and we're missing out on that $3.2 million, as Lori just said, if the new growth stops, we're going to be in big trouble. So I'm questioning whether we're spending too much and we're not living within our means. If anybody would like to comment on that, but specifically, on the cannabis. My question was, how much of that, now it's $3.2 million, how much of that goes back into the general fund to offset the tax bills that are happening now?
Right, so I'd like to comment on a couple of things. I'll start with the new growth piece. So when we talk about new growth, when we're setting a budget, we're basing our new growth on what the new growth is within that year. So we're not using money or planning to use new growth. If anything, when we start the budget process with new growth, we're conservative in the numbers that we use. And then as we get closer to this time of the year, we look at that number. And so, for instance, when we started, I think we used a new growth projection of about $1 million because we didn't know what was going to happen this year. And it came in $1.6 million. So what that ends up doing is we're able to use less money in a different area, or we're able to cover costs that we thought initially maybe we wouldn't be able to deal with. As far as cannabis is concerned, cannabis, we couldn't have projected or expected to be in a situation that we're in this year with COVID. And I think because all these other expenses are being cut, we would have had to make different decisions when it came to putting the budget together. If we didn't have these revenues coming in, we may have had to use some of that levy capacity. But because those revenues came in higher, we were able to use less. If we have resources available to us that suddenly stop, then at that point in time, you have to think about what those where you have to make cuts and where you have to make adjustments. So I don't think we're setting a budget with the expectation that we're always going to have new growth numbers that we have now, but we do set a budget being conservative to start with, and then we watch those numbers pretty closely, and then we set estimates based on where we think we're going to be, and we've come in pretty close by the time we finalize a budget. And then, as far as there's always going to be fluctuations. So, and that is the case in every community, that you're going to have some years that are stronger than others. And when it comes to, say, fines, or it comes to licenses or building projects that people want to take on. So those numbers are always variable and changing.
And I guess I'll just add and piggyback off that, Councilor, to your question of how much of the cannabis revenues go to support reducing taxes. The answer is all of them. They all go into the general fund. The $3.2 million number is since 2016. So that's not an annual number that comes in. But it's good news when we have these additional revenue sources that come in, because it means the cost of governing can be borne by other things than just property taxes. You've been on the council for a number of years now. You see the budgets, you know what the increases are. A 3% increase in schools could be $2 million. Increasing salaries for municipal employees is easily well over $1 million. That's like a 1% increase, by the way. That's not making anybody crazy rich on an annual basis. So our health insurance is a $10 million item. It goes up 3, 4, 5% a year. Retirement costs, the pension obligations that we have as a community go up every year, almost $1 million. It's around $850, $900, $900,000, depending upon the actuarials. So every dollar that we can raise from another source, be it new growth or cannabis revenues, helps offset the amount of money that we have to get from homeowners. We had a really lousy winter. Was that 2015? I've wiped it from my memory block, right? We spent millions of dollars on snow removal that year, right? So there are costs that we have to pay for every year. And I don't have to tell you what they are. You see the budget. You're part of the finance team on many years that have gone through with a fine-tooth comb. It costs more. We spent $5 million on roadway repaving one year because we felt like we had some catching up to do. So we're being judicious with those monies. Nobody's a spendthrift here. You can ask any of the department heads. I say no an awful lot. And it's one of the reasons that we are $4 million under the levy. And that levy is available to us should we run into situations where it's, God forbid, we have another 2015, snow year, or we run into, oh my goodness, there's going to be a downturn in local aid, or some other thing that we need to make up for. Do we want to just chop off all city services? I don't think so. It takes too hard, to build it back. Somebody once said to me, you don't lose weight by chopping off your arm, right? We're not going to chop our way out of tough budget times. We want to rely on the reserves that we have and be thoughtful about it. And a 3% increase every year, I know it's more than we'd like. You're right, Councillor Flynn, about 1,600 over 10 years on average, right? 160 a year is what the 10-year average is for single family homes. But I also know each of you come to me and talk about sidewalks and parks and roadways and improvements and things that we need to spend on. And so I hope collectively we're a city that wants to have high quality of services, wants to figure out how to pay for it in the most fair and judicious way. And as much as we'd like it to be zero and not go up at all, the revenue streams that we have and the costs that they are don't allow for that to happen. And if you want less new growth, when you have less new growth, that means homeowners are being asked to pay more. That's the bottom line. If there's less new growth coming in, somebody's got to pay for the cost of governing, and that would have to come from the majority of revenues that we receive or some property owners. So new growth, it's not an over-reliance, it's a good thing. We'd be at our levy. If we didn't have new growth, we'd be at our levy years ago. And that meant every time you wanted to spend a little bit more, you would be up against it. You'd have to look for an override. You can afford some of the quality of life services that I think people like and appreciate about living here. And that's with us maximizing grants and, trying to be really thoughtful about how we spend money. And that's why bond rating agencies have given us a high bond rating. Those are the things they're looking at. Are you well managed from a financial perspective? And, I think we are, and I think it's a team effort that's led us to be in this position.
You all set, Council?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I would just throw out one last time that I was hoping that the tax bill would go down this year with all the new growth and with the cannabis, with everything else that we're doing. And the staff is doing a good job, the mayor's doing a good job. But I think that we're just spending too much money because in my experience, I think it should have gone down. We've got tons of new growth happening. $3.2 million since 2016 in cannabis alone, but that number is significantly higher this year. Well, it is what it is. I just think that we can perhaps just spend less and live better within our means. So we're not increasing the tax bill every single year. But let me tell you, Mr. President, it scares the heck out of me that we're relying upon the cannabis, we're relying upon new growth. I'm not sure what else we're relying on now. I'd rather be a little bit more independent and not have to need the new growth so heavily. The new growth is great when it's proper new growth, when it's just a whole bunch more of luxury apartments coming in on, well, the mayor pointed out on Boston Street, and those look good. And the new growth there compared to the Flintan and other things that around the city, and putting something in that's nice, that's a good thing. That's good new growth. But sometimes we're doing too much of it in the wrong direction and overcrowding the city. So I just think that we need to perhaps just spend less and live within our means, especially potentially during this COVID year, because we don't really know what's going to come next year. All right, thank you, Mr. President. I'm done.
Council President, Councilor, I just want to be clear. I don't spend 1 cent without the approval of this council, not 1 penny. So if there is a strong desire to cut the budget because you think the services that we have are not necessary, every city councilor has the ability to do that. In June, you go through the budget with a fine-tooth comb. And very often there's not much cut because frankly, I do a lot of the cutting before it even comes to you. Because I think you value the services that the budget provides for. So when you say things like, I just want it to be less, I feel like you want to click your heels. Like it's not just going to be less. We can either cut the budget, or yes, you could have less new growth. You could say no more growth. That would only mean that the people that you are trying to protect, I think that we all are, homeowners from paying too much, would have to make up cost. We would either have to cut the budget or we would have to ask people to pay more than we already are. It's math. It's the old Italian proverb, arithmetic doesn't have an opinion. There is a budget, you can cut it. The revenues come from a finite amount of things. And when they do go up, we don't have to hit property owners as hard to pay for those items because there are more people to do that. It's not a reliance. It's a good thing so that people don't have to pay more.
Thank you. We haven't closed the public hearing. I see two more people have their hands raised. Are they repeat people or are they the?
Jeff has his hand up first, so.
Jeff has already spoken. Jeff, if you would briefly.
Jeff, if you can unmute yourself, please.
So very briefly, I put my hand back up after Councilor Jibble spoke for the first time because he and I frequently disagree. But when he originally spoke, he talked about how he was surprised at how little an increase there was this year. And I wanted to, in this environment, really praise him for talking about how it was really very surprising at how little the increase was this year. Things went on for quite a while after that, and I'm not really sure what to say about all of that, but I want to say one more time, the council agreed to a budget in June, late June, probably this year.
That's correct.
You've got to figure out how to split it up at this point. The appropriation was voted for. Figure it out. It is not easy for anybody.
Nope.
Homeowner, renter, business owner, property owner, whatever. Just figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone else, Madam City Clerk?
Yep. Then we have Pedro had his hand up next. Pedro, I'll allow you to speak. If you can unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is Pedro Fabre, 4 Border Street, Salem. It's kind of, my house, I own a property right here in Salem, and I'm grateful to live in Salem. My kids grow up here. You guys don't want to hear all that stuff. You guys want to hear one thing. As a homeowner, you have to budget, your home. And budgeting means you don't just go in some projection that you cannot count with. You basically, you know how much you're going to be making, and that's what you go. That's how you set up your budget. And talking about, some of you guys have rainy days, money out there. So some of the money, and I think right now, especially during this situation, this pandemic, I think would be great to just tap into it a little bit more, because the mayor alerted to it. And if we have some of that, let's try to really give a break. We understand it. That kind of put a lot of stress into our community. But also, if we have something on the side, can be useful right now, because we don't know what the future is going to bring us. We don't know what the budget 2021 is going to be and what's going to happen. So you don't just go and just say, you know what, let's blow the budget. It's irresponsible for some of the comment that I heard, some of the person list. You just go with what you just established. Sometimes you have to understand, you can set something and just say, you know what, this is not beneficial for the entire community. So if it's not beneficial for the entire community, let's tap into what we have. If we have a little bit of rainy days and resources out there, let's work for it. And let's come in an agreement to help one another. And one more thing, not everybody is in the same position. I understand you guys have to make a tough decision. I don't want to be in your shoes. I appreciate each one of you, the work you guys do, because it is tedious. And I'll tell you, I don't want to be on that side, all right? So, but I'm thankful. I can take a lot of the heat, that you guys take from every angle. Listen, for every angle, I get it. But as of right now, as a community, let's work together, help, see if we can tap into it and see what's gonna come later on and how we can work together. Thank you for your time. I know you guys didn't want to hear all this stuff, but thank you, and keep doing the good work you guys doing in Salem, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk.
We have Fuzzy, who has his hand up from the public.
Fuzzy, you've already spoken once. If you can keep it short, please.
Fuzzy, if you can unmute yourself and.
It's actually very short.
Thank you.
We're talking about the council approving the budget. People need to understand, council vote up or down. They don't have a way of itemizing or agree on something or disagree with something. So when somebody says the budget come to you and you approve it, or we spend it or we don't, that's not really a true statement. When a 60 million comes for the schools, you cannot say, I do not accept or accept this item. You either agree on the whole 60 million or you vote the whole 60 million down. So it's not really the council who really goes with all these things. Sometimes this put a restraint on the council. You don't want to vote the whole school budget down. So we have to be clear. Yes, the budget could be trimmed, in small parts, but the council cannot do that. That's the administration and the heads of departments. People need to know that. So take the pressure of the council. It is not really their decision. It's the end together where they vote or not. So let's be clear and let's be honest with the people. Thank you.
Is that it, Madam City Clerk?
No other hands.
Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll just say, in regards to the school budget, that is correct. We can't cut the school budget itself. We can accept it or refuse it. And that's because in the case of the school budget, another elected body has the responsibility for making those individual choices. But when it comes to the lion's share of the budget, the other 100 million or so of it, there are some things that are statutory, like state reimbursements and the like. But when it comes to that, that is within this council's purview to cut personnel or non-personnel items. We can tell, and I say this spiel every year when I'm managing the budget process as A&F chair, we can tell a department that they can make do with less money in their personnel department, but we can't tell them who to cut or who to take the money away from. We can take money away from their non-personnel, but we can't tell them what budget item goes as a result of it. So we do have the power to cut in virtually all the departments other than the school budget department. And that's because there's another elected body who has that responsibility. But we can cut at that budget time any departments that we see fit to do. And then it's up to the department heads and the mayor to figure out how to make do with the money that we do give them. So with that explanation said, I move that the public hearing be closed.
Council Turiel moves to the public hearing be closed. Madam City Clerk, we call a roll.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor Presniewski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Turiel,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes, on the matter of closing of the public hearing, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none negative, matter carries. Is the will to take up hearings, or do we want to go to the other part of the agenda and set all these rates, or what's the will right now? Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Because of things, I would like to go out of order quickly to page 21.
Council Terrell moves to go out of order to page 21. Seeing no objection, Council Terrell.
Committee reports. Thank you. The Committee on Administration and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of $16.1 million bound order appropriate to pay costs of Signature Parks Improvement Program, has considered said matter, and due to a sunshine ordinance issue, I would recommend that we could keep the matter in committee and hold a second committee meeting next week for the purpose of voting on it. Followed by a city council special meeting.
On acceptance of the report, all is in favor? All is opposed? Let the record reflect I saw 10 hands plus my own. On a discussion, Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very briefly.
You guys want to keep me around for another week or something? Or?
Yeah, exactly. No, we just can't bear to let you go. Sorry, you've been a good president as always. So we're stuck with you for a while longer.
Okay.
Better you than me. Anyhow, so we met on Tuesday, and then the meeting had been posted on the city board. So within open meeting law, it was perfectly fine for us to meet that night, but we had initially taken action on it. And because of a technical glitch last week, it did not get posted on the city calendar as it was expected to be, as we thought it was. And it wasn't posted until Monday morning, which puts it outside the 48-hour window. So as a result of that, we had a 2.25 hour public meeting on it. We had testimony from a number of people with a lot of good questions. Several members of the council sat in on it, and including yourself. And we got a lot of good information about the program and the proposals, but we can't actually hold the formal vote on it until we've officially cleared it from the A&F committee. So with that said, I recommend we keep it in committee. I will schedule after this, I will send an email to the city clerk to schedule. My intent is to schedule a meeting so we can re-vote on this on Thursday evening, because we're used to Thursdays. So this coming Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. And we would then hold our vote. And if the other committees that have not yet done their carryover want to schedule for that evening as well, they can do so, and then we can follow that up with the city council meeting.
Thank you. I just want to, for the record, Councilor Terrell is being chair of A&F, myself, the city clerk, who's actually, Eileen is still on vacation, but she's here. She's technically still on vacation until Monday. And the city solicitor, we had multiple conversations over the last 24 to 36 hours regarding this issue. And Councilor Terrell feels that this is the best way to deal with it, to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. So I'm not going to sit here and, we're not going to second guess what occurred, but we're just going to try to deal with this as best we can. So with that being said, Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's a very good idea. I think Ward 5 Council has a good plan to make sure that we're legal. But I'm simply asking that it be co-posted so that all 11 councilors can speak up on the matter.
It already is co-posted, so it's still in committee.
Correct, but you didn't cite it that way.
I don't need to. It remains in committee. It's still I'm not referring it back.
What he's trying to say is the original posting was co-posted, so it's going to remain. So,
thank you.
Yep, no problem. Anyone else?
Councilor McCarthy and Councilor Terrell, do we know that we have a quorum for next Thursday? I just want to make sure people are available on that date.
I think Councilor Terrell's intent is next Thursday, but he's going to, if Thursday doesn't work, he's going to find another date, whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're on Zoom. We can do it. Well, technically we can't do it on Fridays because the council rules say you can't do it on Fridays. So, but we'll figure something out. We're just going to try to make sure that we do have everyone who wants to be in attendance.
Yes.
And I think
I did not see any members frantically shaking their head no to the suggestion of Thursday, so that should work.
The other issue is too, I know that we're talking with the city clerk, there was a bunch of committee chairs who somehow missed the emails regards to carrying matters over, and they wanted to carry things over. So I think that now we'll have the ability to take some of those votes as well. So we can deal with those rather rapidly. My suggestion, and I'll speak with Councilor Terrell and the city clerk, would be that whenever the meeting gets posted, we post the meeting, and then we post the special meeting of the city council within 5 minutes of it. The meeting may go 5, 10, 20, but that way there's no lag, so that we all know that if we're going to be there at 6 o'clock, it's going to go from one meeting right into the other as soon as that meeting's over, as long as it doesn't exceed, as long as it doesn't last less than 5 minutes, then we'll have to wait. But I'm assuming it's going to procedurally take at least that long. So
Yeah, that would be my intent to post these all to have all the committee meetings posted like at 5-minute intervals, and then follow right up with the special meeting.
that's correct. We'll just do it simultaneously, make sure we get it done. And then I'll be done. Okay, seeing no further discussion. So Council Terrell, we're going to leave it in your good hands to schedule this so we can all be here. Madam City Clerk, will you just call a roll on that, please? Just because the importance of this matter, it's $16 million is a lot of money, so we want to make sure that we get the vote right.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hepworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Presnewski,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes, on the matter of allowing this matter to remain in committee and scheduling a meeting at some point next week to be followed up by a special meeting of the City Council. We have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. I will now entertain a Council Torrio. Thank you.
I move we return to our regular order in the meeting.
Do we want to take out of order to get Ms. Deb out of here? Do we want to go take the votes on the rate, or do we want to go through the hearings first? The other hearings, there's somebody.
I would propose we do the hearings because we have a lot of people that are hanging on for those too.
Oh,
so
for
the hearings and then jump to the rates.
Sure, no problem. Council Torrio moves to go back to page 5, hearings.
We have a hearing from National Grid to install 2 joint-only owned poles, one on Ferry Street and one on Waite Street.
Whose is this, man?
We have Dave Llewellyn from National.
I mean, whose ward? I mean, it's
Council
not.
Madore, I'm sorry.
Thank you. That's what I thought, but I want to be sure. Council Madore.
Mr. President, it's a hearing.
Oh, it's a hearing. Oh, okay. Well, anyone appearing in favor? I'm sure it's somebody from Grid.
Yep. I'm gonna, Dave, I'm gonna allow you to speak. So if you want to unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record, please.
Yep, Dave Llewellyn. I'm speaking on the Comcast petition. This is the National Grid one.
I'm sorry to be at,
It's okay.
yeah, I've been on vacation. Sorry, Dave. I'll get back
problem.
to you. Sabita, where are you? There you are. My apologies. Go ahead, Sabita, if you want to state your name and address for the record, please.
Peter Mahaber Sheehy, representing National Grid, 44 River Street, Beverly, Massachusetts. This came before you before, but after some changes and meetings out there, it was found that the new poles being installed would have interfered with the gate for the gas entry. So we have to add a pole and move 2.
Okay. Is there anyone else appearing in favor?
Let's see if anybody from the public is out there appearing in favor. Could you please raise your hand?
Is there anyone appearing opposed?
Anyone opposed, please raise your hand.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the hearing be closed.
Council Madore moves the hearing be closed. Under discussion, Council Madore.
No discussion.
Okay. Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be granted.
Council Madore moves that this be granted by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hepworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Presnewski,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. Before I know what the vote is on this, but I actually just realized I neglected to, when Councilman Doyle moved that the public hearing be closed, I didn't take a hand vote on that. On Councilman Doyle's motion that the public hearing be closed, all those in favor? All those opposed, let the record reflect. I saw 10 hands plus my own. On the matter of the motion, the petition being granted by roll call vote, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Further hearings.
We have a hearing from Comcast to install an underground conduit for work to be done on Bridge Street, which includes conduits on Osgood Street and Ferry Street.
Now we need the guy from Comcast.
Yeah. Now we'll call on Dave.
There he is.
There you go, Dave.
Hi. Dave Llewellyn, Comcast, 9 Forbes Road, Woburn, Mass. I'd like to speak in favor of the Comcast petition for Bridge Street, Ferry Street. We're installing this conduit and manhole system in sections of Bridge Street, Ferry Street that we currently don't have service in. Therefore, the need to install these conduits and manholes.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone in favor? Anyone opposed?
Please raise your hand.
If you're in the public and you want to comment about these Comcast installation? Seeing none, Councilman Doyle.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the hearing be closed.
Councilman Doyle moves the hearing be closed. All those in favor? All those opposed? Let the record reflect. I saw 10 hands plus my own. Councilman Doyle.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be granted on a conditional basis.
Councilman Doyle moves this be granted on a conditional basis. Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would request that Comcast would submit a street opening permit. I think it's standard practice, and would ask them to work with the engineering department to comply with all the permits that are required.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Dave, you got that? You'll get that in writing, but okay. So on Councilman Doyle moves that the matter be granted by roll call vote with the her stipulations, the conditions that they follow the street opening permits as required. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Masillo,
Yes.
Councilor Presnewski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the underground conduits on Bridge Street in Osgood and Ferry, we have 11 members voting and we have 11 in the affirmative. The matter carries. Might as well, before we go there, might as well take up the appointments and reappointments while we're here, but then we can go back to the other part. Appointments and reappointments.
We have held from the last meeting the mayor's appointment of Keith Zero to the Commission on Disabilities with a term to expire on November 19th, 2023.
That would be Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be granted by roll call vote.
Councilor Madore moves to confirmation of a roll call vote. Under discussion, Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did not have a chance to speak to Ms. Zurao, but just from what I read about her, I'm very impressed and glad to see, in addition to this commission, knowing that not all disabilities are visible. So I'm glad to, excited to have her join and bring her expertise to the commission. I would fully support her confirmation.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Masillo,
Yes.
Councilor Presnewski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the mayor's appointment of Kate Zorro to the Commission on Disabilities, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Councilman Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend the rules to allow Ms. Zero to address the council if she so chooses.
Ms. Zero, if you're in attendance.
Yes, I'm going to allow you to speak, sir. If you could unmute yourself. There you go.
Hi, thank you so much for this appointment. I'm very excited to have the opportunity to be a commissioner, and I hope I do the city proud.
Thank you. You can't, if you're seeing it, everyone's clapping for you. Usually you're clapping in front. But thank you. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have held the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Ezekiel Holt to the Commission on Disabilities with a term to expire on November 19th, 2023.
Councilor Riccardi.
No.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm sorry, I was a little slow on that past one. I had my hand up. I would like to ask that the council send a city seal to Councilor Legault. I believe Ms. Zara is his replacement on the Commission on Disabilities, and I would like to thank him for his service. He was definitely an added benefit and had a wealth of knowledge and a big asset to the commission.
So moved. Thank you. Who is? Oh, thank you. The Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Council Turiel moves to confirmation roll call vote. On the discussion, Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had promised Zeke earlier today that I would embarrass him, but I'm going to hold my fire. Zeke is the ADA coordinator at Salem State, where he's also held a number of similar roles. He's done this work for the U.S. Army. And is one of the people, when he expressed his interest in this, I was incredibly enthusiastic to see that he was interested in stepping forward. He's a wealth of information, a wealth of ability, and really is somebody who cares about getting these things, getting this kind of stuff done right. So I'm glad that, his family is here in Salem and in fact is to break thing is in the process of buying a home here in Salem and becoming permanent residents. So I'm overjoyed to see that, even though they won't be living quite next door to me anymore almost. But this is a terrific addition to the to the Board of Disabilities. I also like to recognize that Zeke is taking the spot that Chris Nagel has held for the last couple of years, and Chris has been an incredible advocate and somebody I've learned a lot from over the last couple of years. He's done a fantastic job. So if we can send Mr. Nagel a seal as well for his service. He's been a great resource in his years, and it's too bad that he can't continue, but it's wonderful that we're getting Zeke on this commission as well. So, we're winning, the city is winning either which way.
Thank you. Anyone else? Madam City Clerk, could we see that we send a seal?
Yes.
Yep. On the matter of the confirmation, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Hepworth?
Yes.
Councilor Dorr?
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo?
Yes.
Councilor Krasniewski?
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes, I was just scrolling ahead.
Councilor Coffey?
Yes. On the matter of the mayor's appointment of Ezekiel Holt to the Commission on Disabilities, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules to allow Mr. Holt to address City Council should he choose.
Council Turiel moves for suspension of the rules, seeing no objection. Mr. Holt.
There you go. Mr. Holt.
Yes, thank you. Just want to thank the City Council for your consideration and your votes in the affirmative. My family moved here in 2014, and Salem has been a very welcoming home and community for us, and I'm very proud to be able to offer my services to repay the city in kind. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Everyone's clapping. Thank you. Communications from the mayor. Oh, sorry.
Mr. President, do you want to skip right ahead to the factors and exemptions on page 18?
I guess my question is, do we have to, before we do that, do we have to because you can't really set the factors until you sweep these accounts. Is that correct? Should we do that first? I think we have to sweep the accounts first.
Okay.
Communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $975,000 is hereby appropriated from the following receipts reserved for appropriation accounts to reduce the gross amount to be raised by taxation when fiscal year 2021 tax rate is set. And the receipts reserve Witch House for $175,000, receipts reserve golf course for $600,000, the receipts reserved Harbor Master for $200,000.
Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Council Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Council Terrell moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. This has been fairly self-explanatory in the past. This is a sweeping of some of these receipt accounts that we have in order to bring money into the general fund that they've collected over the last year. And that money is money that we use to help offset our costs. We do this every year once free cash is certified and figure out what we can use to reduce any tax increases.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcello,
Yes.
Council Presnewski,
Yes.
Thank you.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the appropriation from the following receipts reserve accounts in the amount of $975,000, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
In order that the mayor and city council accept the provisions of section 4, chapter 73 of the Acts of 1986 for fiscal year 2021, and that such additional exemptions granted be 100% of the statutory exemption amounts, provided all other qualifications specified in said section 4, chapter 73 of the Acts of 86 are met.
Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Council Terrell moves for adoption by roll call vote. On any discussion?
Not really. This is something we have to do every year to officially accept all the exemptions that we do offer to people through state regulations.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcello,
Yes.
Council Presnewski,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of that the city council accept the provisions on section 4, chapter 73 of the Acts of 1986 for fiscal year 2021, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Mayor's informational page. Council Terrell. Oops, sorry. Mayor's informational page.
We have a letter from the mayor with her recommendation of setting of the current fiscal year tax rate. The mayor's recommendation for proposed tax rate is $13.80 for residential and $27.60 for the commercial, which will again be under the city's allowable levy limit.
Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move this be received and filed.
Council Terrell moves this be received and filed. All those in favor? All those opposed, let the record reflect I saw 10 hands plus my own. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $2,976,274.20 shall be raised and appropriated from the City of Salem General Fund for the purpose of supporting the Trash Enterprise Fund expense subsidy, which represents the amount to be raised less operational expenses in accordance with the recommendation of Her Honor the Mayor.
Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Council Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption, and before we go into adoption, I'll let Before we move for, well, I move for adoption by roll call vote, but before we do that, if anybody wants a explanation of how this is basically an accounting change, and if anybody wants a more detail on that, we still have the finance director and the mayor on the line, so.
Good. Council Torre moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, does anyone have any questions that they'd either like the mayor or the finance director to explain the change in the way this is done? Seeing none. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Prosnewski,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the order that the sum of $2,976,274.20 shall be raised to appropriate for the City of Salem General Fund for the purpose of supporting the Trash Enterprise Fund. We have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. That carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $500,000 is hereby appropriated from the fund balance reserved for appropriation free cash account to reduce the tax rate amount to be raised by tax when the fiscal year 2021 tax rate is set.
Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Council Torrio moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Council Torrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. Although this number, due to the fact that we've gone into our reserves already some for this year's budget and all, this is sweeping some of our free cash back in also to reduce, to limit the amount of tax increases here as well. So it's less than we've been able to bring in some years in the past because we have already gone into reserves as part of this year's budget. Because as we've discussed earlier, although we have had improvements in revenue in some areas, we have also had hits in other areas for basically what was a quarter of no cannabis revenues, no parking revenues, no hotels tax, virtually no meals tax. And so there is that offset here. So the free cash that we have is not as high as it usually would be at this time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other questions? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Prosnewski,
Yes.
Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes, on the matter of the appropriation of $500,000 from fund balance reserved to free cash to reduce the tax rate to be raised by taxation in fiscal year 2021. We have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $128,511.78 is hereby appropriated to the accounts listed below to be funded by property taxes, state aid, non-property tax revenue, and reserves when the fiscal year 2021 tax rate is set. That's fire full-time salaries and fire overtime. Councilor Flynn is recused.
Let the record reflect that Council Flynn has recused himself. Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Council Torrio moves to suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also move for adoption by roll call vote.
Council Torrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is follow-up from some of the budget issues that we did have around mid-year with some of the uncertainty. We had several members of the fire force retired during the course of the summer. So some of our firefighters retired during the course of the summer, and Now, we did not immediately fill those positions because of the uncertainty that we had. Now we are appropriating, now that things are more certain and in better shape, we are appropriating the funds to backfill those positions.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor Presnowski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the appropriation of $128,511.78 to be appropriated for the accounts listed below, we have 10 members voting, 1 member recused. We have 10 in the affirmative, 1 recused. The matter carries. Further communications to the mayor.
We've been ordered that the Salem City Council hereby approves the use of up to $100,000 in community preservation funds annually for a period up to 20 years for the bond payment for the Bertram Field Phase 2 project, a portion of the capital equipment improvements bond authorized by vote of the City Council on June 27th, 2019.
Council Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Council Terrio moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, let the record reflect that Council Flynn has joined us. Council Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also move for adoption by roll call vote.
Council Terrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Council Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is for commitment of some of our CPA funding as agreed on by the CPA Commission to help offset bond costs and basically to help pay for the bond and some of the other costs that are going into the Bertram Field renovation.
Yep. Anyone else? Any questions? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor Presnowski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent, Councilor Sargent,
Tap to speak. Yes.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the City Council approves the use of up to $100,000 from community preservation funds annually for a period of up to 20 years. We have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further communications to the mayor.
We've been ordered that due to COVID-19, the DOR is asking that Council Order number 350 that was approved on July 9th be reapproved. The original request was that the sum of $75,000 is hereby appropriated and transferred from the general fund balance reserve for appropriation free cash account to the Transit Enhancement Fund as provided in the cannabis host agreement and the amount received through June 30th, 2019 in accordance with the recommendation of the mayor.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrio moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrio.
Well, I guess I move that we adopt it by roll call vote once again.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not quite sure why the DOR wants us to do it again, but we've already approved it once, so let's do it again.
Well, I'm sure they want to make sure we're crossing.
They have their reasons.
Dotting the
Mysterious to we mortals.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a little confusing how this is linked to COVID. So I'm wondering if the mayor can address why, is this another appropriation that we're doing for the same thing? So $150,000 total, or we're just taking a vote for something that we've already voted on in the past? And
Yes.
having it linked to COVID is confusing. So can we get clarification on this, please?
Sure. Mayor Driscoll, are you available?
Yeah, I'm going to have Lori, I'm going to have ask Lori to weigh in here. She knows more about this than I do.
Okay, cool. Laurie, if you would, please. You got to unmute yourself, Laurie.
Laura, you're on mute, just so you know.
Hi, Laura.
Laura, you're muted.
Let me see if I can unmute her.
Oh, she was there and then she's
Yeah,
gone.
and we did
There you
it at
go.
the same time. Go ahead,
Laura,
Laura.
we've got you now.
I said I'm losing my voice, but I guess
Okay.
the mute button was making.
Well, you may be losing your voice, but you're muted, so we definitely couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the whole question. Was that about the 2.975?
No, this is the question about on page 14 of the agenda, the $75,000 that the DOR wanted us to take a revote on some COVID-19 money.
Right, so that particular situation was at the end of the year, because of the discussion about COVID, they were explaining it to us that we could carry the free cash forward. But at the time that we were doing the vote, it wasn't clear as to whether it needed to be done as of June 30th or whether it could be done as of July 9th. So this is really just, again, a formality. They wanted us to re-vote it because the free cash came forward that we didn't use from last year, which is not what normally happens. And we have that money available to spend if we want to once they certified it. So they asked us to re-vote it, and to the other one will essentially be canceled and not considered as being a valid vote.
Okay, so basically we're just doing a revote of something we already did for clerical purposes for DOR.
Right, they wanted us to clarify that.
So there's no additional monies being expended or anything?
No, it's the same exact thing. They just, they wanted us to re-vote it because the format that they have us doing the free cash this year was different than the way it was last year.
Okay. Explain yourself, Council. Does that make sense? Council Dibble's got his thumb up, so I'm assuming he's got no more questions. Anyone else have a question relative to this one? Madam City Clerk. Thank you, Laurie.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor Prosnewski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes, on the matter of the order from DOR to take a revote on the appropriation of $75,000, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries once again. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $58,980.44 be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback Account to be expended for the fiscal year 2021 contractual buyback for a member of the police department.
Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Council Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Council Terrell moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just briefly, shockingly to all of us, Harry Rocheville decided to retire.
I couldn't agree more. He was a wonderful officer and he did a great job.
Surprise, but so he's off and enjoying his retirement already, and there we go.
Yep. Anyone else? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor Prosnewski,
Believe I have to be recused because it's a matter of the police.
yes.
Let the record reflect that Councilor Prosnowski has recused himself.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the appropriation of $58,980.44 for retirement stabilization account, we have 10 members voting, 1 member has recused himself. We have 10 in the affirmative, 1 member recused. The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $49,250.88 be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback Account to be extended for the fiscal year 2021 contractual buyback for another police department employee.
Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Council Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, let the record still reflect that Council President has recused himself. Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Council Terrell moves for adoption by roll call vote. On a discussion, Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sergeant Dacey also has retired recently, and more people gone. And so I wish him the best, and I hope we do well in replacing.
Agreed. Anyone else? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Thank you.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the appropriation of $49,250.88 for the retirement, from the Retirement Stabilization Fund, vacation sick leave buyback for the individual listed. We have 10 members voting, 1 member recused. We have 10 in the affirmative, 1 member recused. The matter carries. Further communications to the mayor.
In order that the sum of $30,000 is hereby transferred and appropriated from the fund balance reserved for appropriation free cash account to the police department contracted services account to fund an assessment center process to hire the chief of police.
Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let the record also reflect that Council President he came in for a moment and then realized he needed to recuse himself again.
Yep.
So
I'm just going to
he's
recommend.
gone. I move for suspension of the rules.
Council Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection. Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Council Terrell moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Council Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. A assessment center is an exercise we normally have been doing over the last, really over the last decade in selecting our new chiefs for public safety. It's a good process. It goes above and beyond what the standard exams do and gives us a chance to really learn about the people who are looking for the job. And it's a very extensive process, and it's in both our police and fire departments over the last decade. It's had good results. So, this is the method that we prefer to use for this, and I'm sure it'll work well.
Thank you. Anyone else? Council Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm questioning whether we should even spend this $30,000. Over the years, from Paul Tucker to Chief Mary Butler of the police to Jerry Junta, we've hired from within. And I think, quite frankly, we can save the money and continue doing so by simply hiring from within. I don't think we need to do an assessment. We've been working with the acting chief for some time now. I say save the money, so I'll be not supporting this tonight. Or, you know what, if the chair would welcome this, I'd like to see this go into committee so we can have a better and more appropriate discussion about spending this $30,000. I think we should save it. So I'd like to see this go to committee, or I'll be voting against it tonight.
Okay. So in all these cases, we evaluate candidates from inside as well as candidates from outside who are civil service eligible for it. And the assessment center is to take those people who have gotten along in the process, whether they be internal or external. In the case of the fire department, we use that to evaluate internal candidates. In the case of the police department, the last time around, we used it to evaluate internal and external candidates. So it depends on what the process produces. And in each of those cases, we wound up going with an internal candidate for the position. In the case of the fire department, it came down to a couple of internal candidates that the assessment center produced. So I think this is a necessary part of the process in making sure we do the job right. And as much as I know we've brought our people from within generally for these jobs, I still want to make sure always that we're getting the right person to do it. And rather than just the results on a test and whoever scores first gets picked, This is a chance to get real world knowledge of their capabilities. And I think it's a much more valuable and effective way to do it. And ultimately, the selection of that chief is ultimately the mayor's responsibility out of those top candidates. And having participated in the process with the fire department, I know that there's a lot of work that goes into it, and a lot of and a lot of information goes into doing it right. So,
Thank you. Councilor Dominguez has a hand up.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just for clarification, you mentioned that in the past we have used the same system before, but this is the first time we're going to use it.
No, we've used it before. I was actually on the assessment center we did for the chief the last time. I was actually on the committee that did the interviews with the candidates that ultimately resulted in Chief Butler going into that position.
And we pay the same amount of money, or this is different?
I don't recall what the total amount was, but we did an assessment center.
that's about what it cost last time to run that for the people who do it and the work that goes into it and everything else. That's about what it costs for the last fire chief as well. But we did assessment center there as well, and I was on that particular group.
Yeah, I'm. If I may, Mr. President, I'm in the same kind of situation that Mr. Debo, Councilor Debo just mentioned. I think that the fact that we are in a very uncertain moment, we don't know exactly what's going to happen 6 or 5 months from now. So we can avoid some of the bills that we have, or at least put in a hold before we know what's going to happen with the economic situation. I prefer to see some other avenue if there's any other options, because like we hear for so many others in the public hearings, when you do a budget, you have to prepare yourself. We don't know what's going to happen. So 30,000 is 30,000, and I know that if we have another different alternative would be good. So I don't know if that's a possibility for us to maybe discuss it in a very deep way, so we can maybe see there is any other solution.
Thank you. Council Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not sure if the good Ward 5 councilor can answer this or not, but obviously, as we know, this is a civil service position. As we did in the fire department, it stayed in-house. Does the good Ward 5 councilor know, is this staying in-house or not for internal candidates? Obviously, that's who we should support, is getting an internal candidate from our department. Do you have an answer for that?
I can answer this in brief. This position, as is any other civil service chief position, including the fire department one, is eligible for anybody in any equivalent civil service position across the state. That anybody can apply for this from other departments. The last time out, I remember I don't remember who all the finalists were for the chief of police. One of the people who made the finals was somebody with the MBTA police. They were a finalist, and in the end, Chief Butler was selected as the internal candidate. An internal candidate pretty much almost always goes into this with a significant advantage. And in many of these cases, like in the case of the fire department, there were multiple internal candidates who applied. But this is an open posting, and there's no requirement that it be posted only to people in the city of Salem. And ultimately, the assessment center helps them determine who the strongest candidates are. They have universally been internal candidates in the end, and the final choice of who will be, in this case, the city marshal, is up to the mayor to make from those people selected. She doesn't really get involved in the process until that point, when it gets to selecting the finalists.
All right, thank you. Just for the record, I want to recommend that we do keep this in-house in our department. We have qualified candidates. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Council Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, if I can address the Ward 5 councilor, perhaps we can just put it into committee and have the mayor in and have the personnel director in and we can have a discussion about this, because I think I remember it only being $10,000 for a fairly recent one of these same surveys, if you would, of our personnel. $30,000 during COVID, when we're crunching our numbers, I think we could save the money. So I'd like to see this go to committee. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, I would not support that. I'd want to move this forward and not push it out to what would essentially be next year. So,
anyone else?
Yes.
Council Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. We could change some wording possibly. I just want to throw something out there. You know, on the above the word mayor, it says process. We could add something like instead of to hire, to promote a member of the Salem Police Department to the position of Chief of Police in accordance with the recommendations of our Honor the Mayor. So we could tailor the money to promoting somebody in the Salem Police Department if the desire is there for that.
yeah, I would say I believe we do not have the power to require the mayor to hire a member of the Salem Police Department for that position. It's covered by civil service rules, and unless we remove them from civil service, we have no real say over that. So within there, we could say that we want all we want, but it's not our decision to make at that point.
Yeah.
I'd like to second the motion of Council Sergeant, please.
And that would be that you want to add language that goes against civil service and put a statement in there that we only consider internal candidates somehow?
This is part of the reason why, Mr. President, I'm asking for it to go to committee so we can have a more in-depth conversation about the whole thing. And whereas the Ward 5 councilor is going to be scheduling a meeting, we could piggyback that and just do it all at one time this calendar year.
Okay.
Counselor, may I speak on this matter?
The mayor would like to address. I see an objection. Seeing none, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to just share a few more insights regarding this funding request. I think folks know we're currently in the civil service division for both the police and fire chiefs. In order to make an appointment, whether it's a promotion or somebody from the outside, you have to go through a process. It can either be a test or it can be an assessment center. This city gave up a written test for upper ranks years ago, I think when Chief St. Pierre was here, recognizing that once you hit a certain rank, the written test is not going to be as useful as an assessment center to put people through exercises, understand how they're going to think and respond, especially in a position like a police chief, where certainly it can be pressure packed. There's a range of skills that are necessary, from budgeting to administrative to leadership. You want to tease all that out. I've now selected 2 police chiefs. I've had the pleasure of doing that. Former Chief Tucker, former Chief Butler, both of whom went through an assessment center. And in fact, our upper ranks use assessment centers. So to be promoted to captain, you also use an assessment center process. It's a much more professional approach to understand the candidates before you and to fairly assess them and their skills. These are people that we're investing in. You just approved 2 buybacks, right? Sick leave buybacks for long-term members of the police department. We invest in people, in personnel. That's why it's really important, if you're going to put a leader in, that you want to go through a solid assessment process and really understand the skill sets. Most importantly, you'll know what they are, but also it's a reflection for that individual, things they may need to work on if they're coming into a new position, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. We do have to have a process under civil service. We have opened it up in the past. This process does allow for both internal and external candidates, and that's because we want the best possible leader for our department. And this is an expense that I think is worthwhile. I would also say it's timely. Right now, we have an acting chief. We'd like to begin this process in January. In order to do that, we need to get the funding approved and put ourselves in a position to move forward. There are at least a half a dozen cities and towns in Massachusetts that are looking for police chiefs. It's a very difficult time to be in law enforcement. A number of chiefs have retired. We want to put ourselves in the position to be competitive. So if it's at all possible, I'd appreciate it if this, what has been a routine process in Salem, holding assessment centers for these upper rank positions, particularly for police chiefs, same process we've used for the last two that we've hired. If there's a way to move this matter forward, it would help us and put us in a position to advance the process. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor by Council Sargent, seconded by Council Dibble, wanted to amend the language of the appropriation. Councilor Sargent, you have to refresh my memory on what the language are you want to amend it.
I think under the circumstances, I'm going to withdraw the motion, please.
Council Sargent has withdrawn his motion. Thank you. Seeing no other motion, the matter is, any further discussion? Seeing none. Council Terrio's motion for adoption by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Council Dibble,
No.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the amount of $30,000 from free cash toward assessment center for the choosing of the chief of police, we have 10 members voting, 1 member recused. We have 9 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, 1 recused. The matter carries. Let the record reflect that Councilor Prosniewski's rejoined us. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order due to COVID-19. The DOR is asking that Council Order number 352 that was approved July 9th be reapproved. The original request is that the sum of $10,000 is hereby appropriated from the fund balance reserved for appropriation free cash to the Human Resources Contracted Services account to cover uniform costs as required to comply with the ASME 1818 contract through fiscal year 2020.
Council Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Council Terrio moves for suspension of the rules, seeing no objection. Council Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote again.
Council Terrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Council Terrio.
I think this is pretty much the exact same situation as the last one. I see, well, Lori just muted herself, fortunately for her, but
Open it up.
I think it's pretty much the exact same thing as last time, and from what I read, so I don't think there's any discussion needed.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. If we can, through you, if we could just have Lori just to confirm that this is not another appropriation for the same thing that we've already purchased.
No, it's the same thing as the other one. This is just a formality of approving the free cash to be transferred.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Prosniewski,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the re-voting for the reapproval of the $10,000 due to DOR requesting us to do so, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further communications to the mayor.
We have an order to accept the donation from Witch Teas in the amount of $1,050 for a dedication bench. These funds are deposited in Park and Rec, Park and Rec fund.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Council Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't think I need to move for suspension of the rules on this.
No.
No, so I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Council Terrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Council Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a nice, generous donation from one of our mainstay downtown businesses. It's been around forever, and very nice of them to put this in to help pay for a bench. So thank you to them.
Yes, thank you to them. Anyone else? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Madore,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Torio,
Yes.
and Counselor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of accepting a donation from Witch Teas in the amount of $1,050 for a dedication bench for the money to be deposited in a Park and Rec donation fund, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have a resolution that the City of Salem establish a committee to prepare the City of Salem Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update.
Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. In City Council, December 3rd, 2020, be it resolved, whereas the City of Salem established a committee to prepare the City of Salem Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update. Whereas the City of Salem Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update contains several potential future projects to mitigate impacts from natural hazards in the City of Salem. Whereas duly noticed public meetings were held by the Conservation Commission on August 8th, 2019 and February 18, 2020. And whereas the City of Salem authorizes responsible departments and or agencies to execute their responsibilities demonstrated in the plan. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Salem hereby adopts the City of Salem Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 4, and its city charter and ordinances. And I move by adoption by roll call vote.
Councilor Flynn moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Councilor Flynn.
No, I just, reading through the packet, I think this is a great thing. Very important regarding disasters and how we act in Salem. And I think this is a great thing. I'm glad it's brought in.
Anyone else? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Madore,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Torio,
Yes.
and Counselor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the adoption of the resolution relative to the committee to prepare a City of Salem Hazard Mitigation Plan, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Terrell. Councilor Terrio, you're muted. It's one
Sorry
of those
about that. I thought I'd already unmuted myself.
buttons in the back in the cosmonaut thingy.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on, let me go.
Tap to speak.
City of Salem City Council, December 3rd, 2020, ordered that the City of Salem adopt a residential factor 84.9947% for fiscal year 2021. And I move that that be adopted by roll call vote.
Thank you. Council Terrio moves that the City of Salem adopt a residential factor of 0.849947. Is that correct, Deb? Deb's got a thumb up. For fiscal year 2021. Council Torres moved for adoption by roll call vote. Any discussion?
I think we've discussed it quite a bit.
I thought so too. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble,
No.
Counselor Dominguez,
No.
Counselor Flynn,
No.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Madore,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Torio,
Yes.
and Counselor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of setting the residential cap factor in the amount of 0.849947, We have 11 members voting, 8 in the affirmative, 3 in the negative. The matter carries. Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for immediate reconsideration, hopes it will not prevail.
Council Turiel moves for immediate reconsideration, hopes that will prevail. Do we have to call a roll call for that, Madam City Clerk? Probably should. Madam City Clerk, you call the roll, please. So just for clarification, if you voted no, you would vote yes, and you voted yes, you'd vote no. If you don't want to change your vote. But just to be clear, where it is this, I normally would do that by show of hands, but because of this, I'm going to do roll call vote.
Yes. Yes means no and no means yes.
Correct. Madam City Clerk.
Council Dibble,
No.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
No.
Council Madore,
No.
Council Marcillo,
No.
Council Prosnewski,
No.
Council Riccardi,
No.
Council Sargent,
No.
Council Torrio,
No.
and Council McCarthy.
No. On the matter of reconsideration, we have 11 members voting. 2 in the affirmative, 9 in the negative. The matter does not carry. Did I do that right? I'm confused when you're all not here. Thank you. Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, December 3rd, 2020, ordered the City of Salem not adopt an open space exemption for fiscal year 2021, and I move that that this be adopted by roll call vote.
Council Turiel moves for adoption by roll call vote. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing none from anybody else, Madam City Clerk.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Prosnewski,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the open space exemption, we have 11 members that the city not adopt an open space exemption. We have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for immediate reconsideration in hopes it does not prevail. I'm guessing we could probably do this one by hand.
We probably can because this one was 11 to no. So all those in favor, all those opposed?
Opposed.
Let the record reflect I saw 10 hands plus my own. That's 11. Reconsideration. Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's just check, make sure I have the right one. City of Salem City Council, December 23rd, 2020, ordered that the City of Salem not adopt a residential exemption for fiscal year 2021. And I move for adoption by roll call vote.
On Council Turiel's motion for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Council Turiel.
Again, no further discussion on my part.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
No.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Prosnewski,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter that setting the residential exemption, that the city not adopt the residential exemption, we have 11 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The matter carries. Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for immediate reconsideration. The hopes will not prevail. And
Council
since we had we probably have to roll call vote at this time.
I would agree. Council Turiel moves for immediate reconsideration. Madam City Clerk, can you please call the roll? A yes means no, and a no means yes for reconsideration.
1 second. Council Dibble,
No.
Council Dominguez,
No.
Council Flynn,
No.
Council Hapworth,
No.
Council Madore,
No.
Council Marcillo,
No.
Council Prosnewski,
No.
Council Riccardi,
No.
Council Sargent,
No.
Council Torrio,
Nope.
and Council McCarthy.
No, on the matter of reconsideration, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the negative, none in the affirmative. The matter is not reconsidered. Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, City Council, December 3rd, 2020, ordered that the City of Salem not adopt a small commercial exemption for fiscal year 2021, and I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Council Torrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Any under discussion, Council Torrio?
None, Mr. President.
Any discussion by anyone else? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Council Dibble,
Sorry about that. We just confirm what, this is for the small commercial.
This is that we not adopt the small commercial exemption.
Then it's confusing with the word no in there, so it's yes.
That's correct.
Council Dominguez,
No.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Prosnewski,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of that the city not adopt a small commercial exemption, we have 11 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. Matter carries. Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for immediate reconsideration in the hopes it does not prevail.
Council Torrio moves for immediate reconsideration. Hopes not prevail. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Dibble,
No.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
No.
Council Hapworth,
No.
Council Madore,
No.
Council Marcillo,
No.
Council Prosnewski,
No.
Council Riccardi,
No.
Council Sargent,
No.
Council Torrio,
Nope.
and Council McCarthy.
No, on the matter of reconsideration, we have 11 members voting, 10 in the negative, 1 in the affirmative. The matter is not reconsidered. Further motions, orders, resolutions.
I'll say that takes care of the finance, all
Yep.
the finance stuff, I believe, so.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Laurie.
So, City of Salem, year 2020, ordinance relative to traffic ordained by the City's Council of City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Section 57A of Article 5 be amended by adding the following. Dodge Street, parking time limited unmetered zones, southerly side beginning at a point 30 feet east of Dodge Street Court for a distance of 105 feet, 30-minute parking only, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., Monday through Sunday. Section 2, Section 51 of Article 5 be amended by adding the following. Dodge Street Court, parking prohibited on certain streets, both sides beginning at Dodge Street in a southerly direction. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter, and I move for adoption for first passage by roll call vote.
Council Torrio moves for adoption for first passage by roll call vote. Council Torrio, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. So these two packages are for the change with the hotel and also with the marijuana retailer opening. The section immediately in front of there is a formerly a combination of some zone space, used to be zone spaces and a loading zone, and that will now be changed to just 30-minute parking for people coming in and going. So a 30-minute limit. And then the other change on Dodge Street Court is because the new configuration narrows it down to no longer be able to fit cars by the side of the road, although it's not really a concern because cars don't normally park there. It's the way it's now configured, and it was previously a parking legal zone, but now with the reconfiguration, if people discovered that they could park there, it probably would work out badly for keeping the road open. So the Traffic Commission and Lieutenant Tucker worked a lot on this, trying to get this figured out.
Anyone else? Council Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to the chair. Just to clarify, what happens to the on-street parking between New Derby Street and Dodge Street on Dodge Street Court? Basically across from the drugstore parking lot.
Nothing thus far.
This is just the section from basically between Dodge Street and Lafayette Street, although it
Yes.
doesn't follow.
This is the part between Dodge Street and where it terminates.
Yes.
At the end of Dodge Street Court.
Yeah, I want to just thank you for your clarification.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't done anything with the other side as of yet.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none. Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Masillo,
Yes.
Councilor Presnowski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes, on the matter of ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 75A, for the listed spots with regard to unmetered zones and whatnot on Dodge Street Court, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative, matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions.
Should be Councilor Riccardi, I believe, instead.
Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, year 2020, December 3rd, City Council meeting. Ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 75, be amended by adding the following: Woodbury Court, Zone C, color green, number 8 and number 9, Woodbury Court, to be included to obtain resident sticker parking permits, but no visitor passes shall be issued. And I move for adoption for first passage.
Councilor Riccardi's motion for adoption for first passage. Under discussion, Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Mr. President. This came from a request from a resident of Woodbury Court. Woodbury Court is borders Ward 2, and it is a dead-end street with only, I think, 10 or 12 homes on it off of Northeast Street. It has no on-street parking, and like I mentioned, it abuts off of Northeast Street, which is Zone C, color green. So if the residents of Woodbury Court don't have off-street parking, it's tricky. I believe a resident of, I can't remember who it was, 8 or 9, reached out requesting a parking pass. If you look at the street, it actually looks like their rental unit that they live in is, because there's that amendment for if it's the first abutting street, that they qualify, but the way the parcels are mapped out, there's actually a parcel in between. So there's just a lot of trickiness to it, which is why we are requesting just two specific units on Woodbury Court versus the whole street. Other residents on the street have off-street parking and they haven't requested this. So we're limiting it to just these 2 numbers with no visitor parking passes.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none. Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor Presnowski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of an ordinance amending traffic, section, Chapter 42, Section 75, amending it by adding the following: Woodbury Court Zone C, color green, to number 8 and number 9. We have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative, matter carries. Further committee reports. Wait a second. Anyone else have any further motions, orders, or resolutions? Seeing none. Committee reports. We already did the top one. Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, December 3rd, 2020. The Committee on Administration and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of discussing carrying matters forward, has considered said matter and would recommend that the attached list that I am submitting be carried forward.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Let the record reflect so 10 hands as well. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion, Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for a roll call vote.
Councilor Torrio moves for adoption by roll call vote for carrying the matters listed in the list he's going to give to the clerk. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Prosnowski,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the recommendation to carry the items that Councilor Toriel has on his sheet for the carrier to carry across matters into the next calendar year for the council, we have under Rule 31B, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further committee reports. Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee on Ordinances, Licensing and Legal Affairs, whom was referred the matter of discussing carrying matters forward, has considered said matter and would recommend carrying forward orders number 24, 197, 332, 532, 141, 363, and 496.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Let the record reflect this. I saw 10 hands plus my own. Adoption of the recommendation. Under discussion, Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank my committee members for helping us get through this very difficult year. I cannot believe we're already in December. We started out with nearly 40 matters in committee throughout the year, and we successfully had successfully taken on 16 and referred it out for a full council vote. We've been very productive, and unfortunately, I did a clean sweep for the next year forward. We do have several matters that are just sitting in committee that are no longer relevant or did not ever have a hearing because there was not enough support for whatever reason. And it was a large volume of traffic and parking matters that had seen transitions of staff and council members that I felt that it would be good to just kind of start from a blank slate if anyone would like to refile those. And some of them needed to be consolidated. And so a lot of the nuances in our discussion had just been lost during several transitions. So we ended up with 6 matters. I'm happy to go through each of them to just quickly mention what they are. So we have a good outlook for the next year to know that what is still on the docket. These are very worthy matters to continue. One of which is converting our city ordinances to use gender neutral language. That we've had a couple of hearings on that, and this Madam City Clerk and our city solicitor has done a fair bit of work looking into this. So we felt that that was worth carrying forward. And good at-large Councilor Hapworth had submitted an order requesting that the Race Equity Task Force addresses the council with their progress. So we felt that that would be a good matter to keep in committee and refer to the next year to serve as a reminder that we need to check in with them to know that there is progress being made through that task force. I'm happy to talk about others, but I really would like to commend the work of the committee meeting me in Zoom, and some of them were very long, some of them incredibly short, but overall it was very productive, and I want to thank everyone for their efforts.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to commend the chair who just spoke. She did a great job this whole year in a difficult year on COVID with Zoom on and on, but she made her first mistake just now. It's not 6 matters, it was 7 matters.
Ah, okay.
Yes, you're right. Mr. President,
That's fine.
it's late. I knew it was 7, but somehow
That's fair. I'm
I
sure
didn't
on the
realize
list.
I said
Yep.
6.
That's fine.
Thank you, Counselor, for correcting that.
No problem. Anyone else? Seeing none on the adoption of the recommendation from Council Madore that with regards to Rule 31B, that the list of 7 matters be carried over to the next year for the city council. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll? Did I do? Yeah, roll, please.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Madore, Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Presnewski,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
and Council McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of carrying the 7 matters over to the next year, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Communications from city officials, none. Petitions.
We have a petition from Salem Historical Tours to waive public guide fees for 2021.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these be, I move that this be referred to Committee on Ordinance, Licensing and Legal Affairs, and that it be carried forward to the year 2021.
Council Madore moves that this matter be referred to the Committee on License and Legal Affairs and that this petition be carried forward to 2021. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? All those opposed, let the record reflect I saw 10 hands plus my own. Further petitions.
We have one public guide license application.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be granted.
Council Madore moves that this matter be granted. Any further discussion? Seeing none. On Council Madore's motion that's be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed, let the record reflect I saw 10 hands plus my own. Further petitions.
We have one secondhand valuable license application.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Licensing and Legal Affairs, and that they be carried forward to 2021.
Council Madore moves that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs and be carried over to 2021. Any discussion? Seeing none. On Council Madore's motion that these be referred to committee and carried over, all those in favor? Let the record reflect this at 10 hands plus my own. Further petitions.
We have 3 claims.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these be referred to Committee on Ordinances, License and Legal Affairs, and be carried forward to 2021.
Council Madore moves that these matters be referred to the Committee on License and Legal Affairs and be carried over to 2021. Any further discussion on these matters?
I do, Mr. President. I just want to know that I'm not related to this individual, Allison Madore, in case that poses a conflict of interest.
I would be sure that you would, if you were, that you would recuse yourself at the proper time. This matter is just being referred, so thank you for clarifying, though. On the matter that Council Madore, that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs and carried over to 2021. All those in favor? All those opposed? Let the record reflect this on 10 hands plus my own. Unfinished business. Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second passage by roll call vote.
On Council Madore moves for second passage by roll call vote. On the second passage for amending traffic chapter 42, section 50B handicap zone.
Yes, I apologize, Mr. President.
Nope, that's
okay. Would you like me to read it?
If you'd like to, go ahead. If you want to, I mean, it's a second passage for a handicap zone, but you can do whatever you want.
Sure. In the year 2020, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, be it ordained by City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones. A limited time is hereby amended by repealing the following. Repeal cross street in front of number 3 cross street for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking only, tow zone time. In Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter, and I move for adoption for second passage by roll call vote.
Council Madore moves for adoption for second passage by roll call vote. Under discussion, any discussion? Council Madore.
No discussion.
No discussion. Discussion from anyone else? Seeing none. Madam City Clerk, will you please call a roll?
Council Dibble,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Madore,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor McCarty,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Torrio,
Yes.
and Counselor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of second passage for an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones, as listed, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zone for Hathorn Street.
Council Masil.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second passage by roll call vote.
Council Masil moves for adoption for second passage by roll call vote. Under discussion, Council Masil.
No discussion.
Any discussion from anyone else? Seeing none. Madam City Clerk.
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Madore,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Torrio,
Yes.
and Counselor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of a second passage for an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have an ordinance, a traffic ordinance to amend an resident sticker for Hawthorne Boulevard, and this should be for second passage.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be adopted for second and final passage.
Under discussion.
No discussion, Mr. President. This is just the matter we took up previously.
Thank you. Ryan. Any further discussion being none? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Madore,
Mr. President, I'm sorry for interrupting the roll call.
Yeah.
I think this was first passage only. I don't remember taking this up at the previous meeting.
It was.
I read it.
Oh, it was.
This was.
This one was.
the sentence was cut and pasted. I just didn't change the word first.
Okay. Just making sure because somehow this came up in one of my discussions with the traffic and parking staff, and they said they submitted it, and I wasn't sure it was for first or second passage. Apologize.
No, that's
I'm
good.
a yes.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, Mr. President.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Torrio,
Yes.
and Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
We got 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The matter carries.
How do you like that?
Thank you very much. Good teamwork.
Good teamwork. Any further unfinished business? Seeing none. Council Sergeant. Well, actually, before I want to actually, I know we're going to have one more next week at some point, whenever council materials schedule it, but I want to actually thank all my committee chairs, and actually all the members of the council as well. I mean, if anyone had explained to me a year ago, you know, with a bunch of new councilors coming into the council, and you know, come sometime early March being hit with a pandemic, and I never even knew what Zoom was. I'll be 100% honest with you. I never knew what Zoom was, and to be able to run a Zoom meeting, and I want to give a lot of credit to the city clerk and her staff. I mean, there was constant conversations all year with trying to make this right and to try to, you know, continue to do the work of on behalf of the citizens of the city of Salem in a very difficult time. And I just want to thank you all for rising up and above and doing the work. I mean, as much as sometimes we disagree, I always say that I never carry it through the threshold. I'm the only one in here. And I want to say it's lonely. I miss you guys. I miss being I've had the pleasure, I'm going to be starting my 14th year next year, and I've had the pleasure of sitting with many city councilors over the tenure of my career. And this room makes noises in the wintertime when there's no one in here. The pipes snap, it's creaky. It's not fun in here without you guys. And it's, as much as we banter back and forth sometimes, and we do, it's a lot of hard work, but at the same time, it's, I miss having those discussions before the meeting and after the meeting and finding out what your kids are doing and how you guys are doing. And it's hard, and it's been hard on everyone. And it's, I was talking with I was in a meeting earlier, and I was with the Port Authority, and the harbor master had to come in late, and I reached out to him on my way here between the meetings, and I said, hey, you came in late, what's up? And he's like, Bob, it's that time of year, and then unfortunately during this time of year and with the pandemic and the holidays, I hate to say it, someone decides to maybe take a leap off the bridge, and it's not a good thing. Well, they try to anyway. And it's, it's unfortunate that's, there's a lot of stuff going on in this world, and there's a lot of, it's a very difficult time right now. But, I just want, to let you know that I'm thinking of all of you during this holiday season. I wish I could give you all a big hug. I wish I could pick up Christine's kids and give them a big hug. I miss those kids, and I miss having the conversations with you guys, and I really do. And I really want to thank you. As much as it was a lot of work on my behalf and the city clerk and Maureen, you guys had to jump into the fold too and figure this out. And the citizens of the city of Salem should be grateful that all the time and effort that you guys took to make sure that, we still tried to do the work. It wasn't perfect. Sometimes it wasn't, the most ideal situations, but we did the best we could with what we had. And, I've talked to other councilors from, the cities around us. I've got to know them all over the years. And they were amazed because we were one of the first to go out and figure this out. And we tried to do it right. And, a lot of them followed our lead, and I couldn't have done it without you guys. And I want to thank you all. And I want to wish you all a very happy holiday season. And I know I'm going to see you next week. But it's been enlightening this year, it really has. And I wish you guys haven't talked to me because I haven't seen you. So I know one of you is going to replace me. And I wish that person, whoever he or she is, the utmost luck next year, because I'm really getting to the point where I want to be like Councilor Prosnewski. I want to be sitting in my house without a jacket on, with my shirt and tie, because the rules say you have to wear a shirt and tie. But to be able to sit in a nice comfy chair instead of sitting on this stool. And by the way, whoever comes, and if they decide to do it from this room, I got a big pile of papers underneath this desk that I'm going to have to come back, and I'm glad I have another meeting to come back and clean them up, because it's a real, all the other desks are nice and clean. Mine's a mess. So, but all that being said, I want to thank you all, and have a happy holidays. I'll see you next week, but if we'll see each other next week, but if I don't have a chance to reach out to you individually or talk to you, I'll try to, but have a great holiday.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Council Sergeant.
Well, I just want to, I'm getting a little bit too old to sit on your lap at Christmas time when you're playing Santa Claus. But I do have pictures of years past.
I've got lots of them.
Some of those noises you hear, and might be some of the ghosts of city councilors past taking advantage of those empty seats during these times. So you never know.
You never
Joe
know.
and Lenny. Now, I'm told by Eileen and Maureen and Rochelle that underneath the newspaper that's underneath your desk might be a little present for you.
I told you, it's a mess. Everybody, where did you bury it?
On the right side.
Oh, didn't even see it. Oh, look at that. Thank you.
Before you open it, hold on a second.
All right.
I gotta say a few words. You did steal a little bit of my thunder on some of your words, but good job. You know, with all these tough times, I want to thank Eileen and Maureen and Rochelle and everybody from the city clerk's office and all of the city of Salem employees all around town, blue collar, white collar, have all stepped up during these times. And I then give a very special thank you to Council President Robert McCarthy and his wife and family also. You know, January swearing-in ceremony was a very nice event. Who could have imagined that 3 months later we'd be hit by this worldwide pandemic? And you know, thank you so much for your leadership during this year. No city council president that I know of has ever had to deal with this kind of issue. You had to move fast to get us together, to learn how to use Zoom yourself, to help us learn how to use Zoom, and we really appreciate everything you did. You also attended so many Board of Health meetings during the day, missing time from work and those kind of things, and that didn't go unnoticed also. So just thank you for all your leadership during 2020. Hopefully it'll be over soon, but we'll never forget the pandemic year of 2020 and the leadership you provided. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now you can open.
Look at that.
Now you can open your present.
Now I can. Thank you.
If it's chocolate chip cookies, I'll be down there in 2 minutes.
I was going to say, I missed those chocolate chip cookies. I'll just add it to that pile for next week.
Get the crane.
Can I request an extra recycle code up here for next week?
Yep.
Thank you. It's the traditional, at the end of your presidency, is the plaque with your name and the year you served and a gavel. And I want to thank you.
The plaque ought to be made out of an iPad this year.
I thought it was going to have a mask on it or something. But no, seriously, thank you. I will be like Councilor Dominguez and add it to my wall in the back. I have a couple more of these, and I will say that I've been honored to serve the city council and all of you this year as president, and it's my third time doing it, and I want to thank you. I want to thank all the new members for, deciding and coming to me and talking to me and say, they wanted someone with veteran experience. And I think that without even knowing it, that we, having a pandemic, I think it was really important for the city clerk's office and myself and the body as a whole to have someone with a little knowledge and leader that's been up here before, that's held the gavel. Like I said, it's my third time. My first time, I went to a bunch of veterans and leaned on them and asked them, and they agreed. And then the second time I did it, it was a time where there's a transition in the council, and a bunch of the newer members approached me and they said that they wanted me to step up and do it again, even though maybe some at that point there was so many new faces on the council that they wanted someone again. And and I want to thank you all for bestowing me this honor one more time. It's something I don't take lightly. It's something I take very seriously. And I want to thank you all for your support, because once again, I say it, I can't do it without you. And I can't do it without Eileen and Maureen and the Bat Line. And all of you, I've joked about it before. If you don't know, where there's a special phone number you can call, it goes right to Eileen. And if she doesn't pick it up, Maureen picks it up. And if they don't pick it up, it goes down the hallway to the other, I call it the Bat Cave, and they have there's a special bat phone down there too, and I have nicknames for all of them, and it's pretty funny sometimes. But in all seriousness, thank you. Really, we've been here long enough. You heard me rumble along too long. I can't thank you all enough. It's time to get out of here. Council Sergeant.
Council Sergeant moves for adjournment.
Council Sergeant moves for adjournment. All those in favor, all those opposed, we stand adjourned. Thank you so much. See you next week.